Hold on. No, wait a second. Wait a second. Hold on.
All right. Welcome everybody to another BD Boxing Podcast, broadcast to you live from the True North. It's a good friend, Mr. BDA, and I'm sure I'm glad everybody could be on board for this one, fellas. We got a fantastic, and I do mean fantastic show for you. We got three relatively big cards last night, and there's a lot to talk about. As always, we're going to be opening up the phone lines near the end of the hour, I believe. Depending on how long this whole thing goes. But listen, fellas, we got a lot to talk to, man, so let's get started, man. Let's get the business out of the way. You know the drill. If you want to donate a couple of shekels our way, you are certainly welcome to do so via the Super Chat feature. It's always better if you use the membership program. You join the membership program, that way you get more bang for your buck. And YouTube doesn't take its usual 30% cut. They want their cut. They want their taste. We can circumvent that. The other thing is you can check us out on Spotify, iTunes, Spreaker, the whole shebang. The most important thing, of course, is you continue to listen to us, fellas. Continue to listen, spread the BDA gospel. We're on the true path to the Crimson Cross here. There's a lot of uninitiated out there. We need to step it up. All right, fellas? I want to give a shout out to everybody in the chat. Alan R, Bray, Eparukua, Baby ZY69, Official Scorecard Boxing. Shout out to Official, Iron Fist, Electorazo, Knockout Ned, Vladdy V, Taguchi Berserk, J Colt, Shadow Combat, Fluffy Toaster 79, Urban Productions, SSC in the house as well. Shout out to SSC, says El Camadon is no joke. We're going to talk about all of that and more. Fellas, thank you for joining us. Really appreciate it. All right, so let's get started on this. I believe it's the last edition of the Spooky series. Spooky series, and boy, did we get some spookiness last night. A lot of good fights. I was surprised by some of the stuff we saw last night. See, we've already got Jimmy and Gonzalo here. Fellas, are you there? Hello, fellas.
Hey, how's it going?
Shit. Good to have you on board, fellas. I hope you're doing fantastic as well. I forgot to invite two people here. Hold on a sec. I forget nowadays. I don't know where my head's at. All right, let's talk about, the first fight, the big fight, or I suppose the biggest name or most significant name, which was Vasil Lomachenko, who was able to beat an undefeated Jermaine Ortiz by scores of 116, 112. I believe those were the scores. Hold on, I'm looking. You have 115, 113, 116, 112, and 117, 111. Which some people felt was a little more wider, but I got a couple of things to say about this fight and about that scorecard, but I'll let you guys go first. Whoever wants to go first, Jimmy, Gonzalo.
Gonzalo, you want to go?
Yeah, whatever. Yeah, he clearly won, in my opinion. It was a suspenseful fight. Not at the edge of my seat, but I was raising my eyebrow. They do call me Mr. Popeye as well. No. So yeah, he fucking the younger man, like, he brought it. Lomachenko stepped it up. He swept the last 4 rounds, in my opinion. It was a good, entertaining fight, and most of all, and most importantly, that's what I'm looking for as a fan. Now we can break that victory apart, or we can talk about how Timothy Bradley and Andre Ward were salivating every time that Jermaine Ortiz was doing something. They didn't really allow. Like, I was watching, I usually let the fight play out and see what happens after that, because as soon as somebody does something, you expect the reaction from the other opponent, the get back. And so, like, they were referring to that too, and everything that Ortiz was doing, they were applauding, and they were hoping that he continued doing that without giving Lomachenko the chance, as far as, like, as an observer, seeing how the round played out, to give that other guy credit too. And we saw that Lomachenko landed his punches, and the rounds were somewhat close in the first 6 rounds. Okay, if you want to give the majority of the first 6 rounds to Jermaine Ortiz, okay. But then later, it was like their little party. They became a little more silent, and Lomachenko stepped it up and he did what he needed to do. And it was an entertaining fight. It was a special fight. I enjoyed it, which is most important. And Devin Haney was there. Okay, so now it looks like that fight's gonna happen. Yeah, but it was a good fight.
Yeah, we're going to talk
Considering it was
about
his first fight back as well.
absolutely. We're going to talk about more about the future and about the Haney situation there. Jimmy, you want to go ahead and give us your thoughts on the fight?
Yeah, I think we saw again that Lomachenko always sees the best of his opponents. They always put in. Listen, that kid trained his balls off, and he put in a good fight. He clearly, I agree 100% with Gonzalo. He ran away with the last 4 rounds. He landed the more impactful punches. He had him hurt a couple of times in the 10th round. He had him really hurt. I think if it happened a little sooner in the round, he might have been able to get him out of there. But yeah, and another thing this fight really shows, like, you look at the size difference. It's crazy. Name another fighter that constantly is fighting guys that, in reality, like they said last night, I mean, to Tim Bradley's, you know, he's like, oh yeah, you're right. He kind of didn't want to agree with it because, again, with Gonzalo, I mean, he couldn't hide his bitterness when Lomachenko started coming with the get back. It's starting to get, you know, what's that?
I said, no, I was just asking rhetorically why. I mean, but I don't know if we have an answer for that, but.
It is what it is. I don't really want to go down that route, but it's clear because just look at the guys he talks the most up, the guys he gets the most excited about, and you know, whatever. That's that's a whole nother subject. I like his opinions. I think he has an excellent eye for boxing, but that goes way back to when he was still fighting some of the stuff he said. But regardless, so back to the fight though. But Ortiz, I'll tell you right now, I would bet the house on that kid would box Gervonta Davis's face off, without a doubt. He'd be the best opponent Davis has faced, and this was supposed to be like a comeback fight for him. And you know, he was undefeated. He was excellent. He put it on Jamal Herring, his last performance. I mean, his last fight. So he was clearly a talented kid, and I'd like to see him going forward. I wish he punched a little harder, but it is what it is there. But extremely got a high IQ. I think he's going to be around for a while. But Lomachenko, he looked a little soft in the body, a little soft for me. I didn't like the softness, but then again, it's when you don't have to really struggle to make weight. Remember, again, where I was going earlier, and I, you know, Detroit went off on the ring there, but he should be fighting at 130 tops, but he's a career 126 pounder. And like his father says, he could still easily make 126. That would be his natural fight. So he's literally fighting in 2 weight classes above his weight because he couldn't get nobody down there to fight him, and they wouldn't, even at 130. So that will segue into something we'll talk about Haney, because you heard him dropping well, I did what it had to take to get the big fights done. What big fights? It was one big fight. And no, talking about going to 140, you could see him laying the groundwork where, since I did that, I think Loma should go up to 140, or he's going to try to do some catch weight. I guarantee you that's what he's going to try to do. But we got, and another thing, man, listen, I've given Haney credit on this, that he's a fighter. A lot of people, you know, have issues with certain things, but I always said at least he's not out getting drunk, being a knucklehead, getting in trouble. He seems to live a clean, good life. And I never had anything personal to say about the kid until last night, man. To see him get on in front of that camera, and I think I read a tweet that summed it up perfectly, kept his glasses on to hide the shame in his eyes of lying like that, to turn around, you know, go right on the camera. So, well, I called him out when I was mandatory, you know, he avoided me, but whatever. And he was like, okay, dude, you're going to perpetuate that. So you see, why would you say that? It's because he's laying the groundwork. But that's another subject. But yes, Lomachenko, I had winning the fight by 3 rounds, or minimum, if you want to call him close, 7-5. You know, at best, but the clearer, harder punches, the punches that hurt the other opponent, or who was most affected by them, was absolutely Ortiz. And I think actually, too, I wouldn't be surprised if he has a fractured eye socket, the way they turned, the colors are turned. But good on him, though. He didn't bail. But Yeah, no, I think Lomachenko clearly won the fight. I saw some things I didn't like about Lomachenko. Again, the body. Thought he was a little soft in the midsection for him. That could, and again, he's been out of the ring for a while. He's 34 years old. But I'm not using the age as a problem because I don't think that 34 is, especially with only 18 fights. You're not been through the ringer yet. But I thought it was an excellent fight. It was an entertaining fight too, and real big props to Jermaine Ortiz. He handled himself well, and he deserves credit for the performance he put on last night. Mm-hmm. And I don't want that to be, overshadowed. I really do respect what that kid did last night. What's that, Mr.
I'll tell you what, man. I'll tell you what. Official scorecard in the chat is saying, BDA, ask Jimmy if he saw Haney's Instagram story insulting Loma's sister. What a class act. Somebody posted that on the Discord, but I don't know if that was Photoshopped or something. Do you know what he's talking about?
No, I did not see that. I did not.
Well, apparently, what I saw on the Discord was that somebody posted I don't know if it was an Instagram post or whatever from Devin Haney saying, because he's got an OnlyFans account or something. I don't know what he does on there, and he said, something about banging Lomachenko's sister on OnlyFans. Now I don't know if that's real. I don't know if he really did that. But again, it just goes to show you. It's like when I was saying the other day, I was going on a diatribe about why do a lot of people root against Lomachenko? What's this obsession about rooting against a guy that doesn't trash talk, consistently tries to fight the best, and does it in an entertaining style? And there's people that root for Haney against him. Meanwhile, Haney, if he did that, I mean, that is pretty distasteful. I mean, say whatever you want about a fighter, but when he said that about saying that about another guy's sister, I mean, eesh. And by the way, I see somebody in the chat, somebody says, stop being sensitive. Durant said worse. I mean, that's whataboutism right there. I mean, well, this guy said that was worse, so that makes it okay? I mean, listen, I don't know Lomachenko, so I don't care about his sister. And I don't, it's not the end of the world for me, but I mean, just you can call it disrespectful for what it is. It is disrespectful. Whether Durant said it or Ali said it or some no-hoper in a smoker said it, is disrespectful any way you cut it. So, yeah, it's bizarre. But I don't know if he said that, by the way. I don't really know if he said that because could have been photoshopped. I don't know. Somebody just put it on the Discord. But if he did say it, it is pretty disrespectful. And I have a hard time believing or seeing how people could actually root for a guy like that. That's bizarre to me. But, hey, listen.
Mr. BDA, even if you put that off to the side, right? We don't know, right? The jury's still out on that. But what we do know is he's a liar. He's a fucking brazen, unrepentant liar. He looked right at that camera and he lied through his teeth. And that I attest liars. And for him to do that, and for what reason? It's because he's trying to control a narrative. And did you see him kind of shit his pants when fucking when he's talking to the guy? He goes, "Well, I didn't think you look emaciated." Well, people were saying it. Like, why are you bringing that shit up? Setting the groundwork. But anyways, Mr. Media, what was that?
Yeah, my
maybe
thoughts
that's why he was wearing the skeleton sweater.
Listen, my thoughts on the fight was that sometimes you gotta watch fights with the sound off because again, anybody that says that ESPN is or the boxing establishment is somehow pro-white or wants Lomachenko, they call him, Bill Haney calls him White Jesus. We're going to start calling Devin Haney Black Mohammed here. But anyone that says that they're biased towards Lomachenko, just look at Timothy Bradley. I mean, if there is some sort of initiative or directive to be biased towards Lomachenko in a positive way, Bradley and Andre Ward certainly didn't get the memo. But my thing is this. CompuBox, you can use them sometimes if they reflect the action in the ring. I didn't see Ortiz landing that many good shots in there. Whenever Lomachenko was landing his, they were snapping his head back. Ortiz was sort of shoe shining. I was watching the Sky Sports telecast, which had Cynthia or the female commentator and Jamel Herring. And even Jamel Herring was saying those shoe shines ain't gonna cut it from Ortiz. That was a lot of shoe shines. The CompuBox, apparently they only had a 3-punch connect this advantage for Lomachenko. I don't know if that's true. Again, I'd have to rewatch a fight. Maybe if somebody like Aratorius Boxing does a punch count. Because I remember, there's a precedent to this. I remember when Bernard Hopkins fought Joe Calzaghe, and that was a fight that was marred by a lot of clinches. I think must have been a clinch every 5 seconds. And at the end, they had, the CompuBox had Joe Calzaghe landing 200 shots, I think. And even Hopkins goes, well, listen, if you would have landed 200 shots, I would be looking like the Elephant Man right about now. So sometimes these CompuBox numbers, they're a little skewed. I saw Lomachenko landing the hardest shots. Was it a little complicated? Yeah, it was a little complicated fight. It wasn't as easy or as impressive, I would say, as the Comey fight, because Ortiz was clinching a lot too. There was a lot of clinching. So somebody actually called in here the last episode and said that the Ortiz fight would be a good preparation for a Haney fight. And I said, I don't know, man. It's different styles, though. Different styles. I think the caller was proven right. Ortiz moving a lot, clinching a lot. I think this was a perfect fight for Lomachenko. I thought he pressed the fight, landed the cleaner shots. I thought he won. I think it was a pretty good performance for him.
No, exactly.
Maybe Loma should do. What was that MMA fighter's name? That the one they used to fight in the streets, the black Kimbo Slice. He used to put baby oil in his body, so every time they try to grab him, the other motherfucker would slide off. That's what Loma should do. Put baby oil in his body when he fights fucking Haney.
Yeah, put Vaseline all over the body, man. Pull a Joe St. Pierre.
Well, Mr. BDA, even at the end of the first round, how excited they got about the abrasion on his eye. Oh, Jesus, look at that abrasion. And it was from Joe Tessitore pointed out, like they ran it back, and it was from the tape, just like the corner said. But without a doubt, they weren't getting as excited. Definitely, Tim wasn't getting as excited when he was hurt. It was a letdown in his voice. You could physically hear it when Lomachenko started coming back. Oh, in the seventh round, I got him winning this fight. Oh, boy. You know what I mean? He's all excited. And when Lomachenko put it on him in the last few rounds, into those 12 rounds, you know, if you've never gone 12, that makes a big difference. Your legs are burning, your chest is burning. Mm-hmm. But it just shows, if Haney saw anything, man, you better be able to fight a little bit on the inside, because he's going to tattoo you. He's going to come in. He doesn't run from you. In fact, Lomachenko, for most of the fight, pushed the action. He's the littler guy pushing the bigger guy back. You know what I mean? And so, without a doubt, I thought he absolutely won the fight. Ortiz handled himself well. He should get some more love and respect out of, from the just boxing in general over this. But I bet you won't see Haney or anybody else at 135 calling him out, because obviously it doesn't bring up money. But you won't see Davis calling that kid out.
He did a cool move. Jimmy, did you see when he faked like he was going to grab Ortiz? Then as soon as Ortiz tried to grab him back, he popped him up with an uppercut.
And that was crazy. Yeah, dude. That was, he caught him. He acted like he was going to clinch him and then pop with that left. Yeah, dude, that was sick. And he hurt him too with that. I think that was the exclamation point on the 12th round, that movie you were talking about.
Well, it just goes to show you. But, yeah. It just goes to show you that the people I've heard some people saying that it was a robbery, that Ortiz deserved to win. This just goes to show you how high the bar is for a guy like Lomachenko. This just goes to show you, even the haters have placed him on a pedestal that he cannot, if he doesn't stop a guy or hurts him or drops him during a fight, that he lost the fight. But anyway, listen, I want to move on to the Haney fight, because Haney did go into the ring, and some people are saying, people are already bringing up the weight as an excuse. But I mean, is it an excuse when you point out reality? I mean, geez, Luis, look at this. That's a big size difference right there. But it seems to me like Top Rank is always one step ahead when they're promoting fights or planning fights. The fact that they've had both of these guys fighting within a month of each other, or at least within the same 30-day period, I think they're really trying to push to make this fight. It does appear like it's going to happen. I got to tell you, though, Haney, though, even though he's younger, has a size advantage, I don't know if he looks that confident, because he keeps bringing up the fact that, I'm the one that had to go to Australia twice. And I think Loma was standing there smiling a little bit like, man, every time I have a big fight, I'm fighting abroad. So why is
exactly.
Haney all of a sudden? You know what it reminds me of Christopher in The Sopranos. Spoilers, when he set up his fiance to be murdered. And every time he would use that as a cop-out, every time he would do something, it's like, hey, listen, man, I did that Adriana thing. That's what Haney seems to be resting on too much, a little bit. Like, hey, man, I went to Australia twice. Okay, man, you went to Australia. That's what a lot of foreign fighters do when they fight in the United States all the time. Like, you want, how many medals you want? How many pats on the back do you want? But hey, listen.
And he's...
Yeah.
Oh, I was going to say, but it wasn't just that one fight. Remember, he actually said fights. I've proven I do what it takes. I'm the one. Like, he's the only one doing it, first off. And then to get the fights plural. What are the fights, dude? The Cambosos, yes. after Lomachenko went to get involved in the Ukrainian bullshit, he stepped up. But that's it. Then the rematch was the rematch against the guy you already beat. That was a part of the clause. It had to be in Australia. Mm-hmm. But what other fights did he do? I know when he came back after his shoulder surgery, when he was supposedly looking to fight Lomachenko, he came back and fought a fucking Gamboa. So that was somebody he handpicked. And I cut him slack for that back then because I knew he was coming off a shoulder surgery. I'm like, well, you can't blame the kid from, going a soft touch. And that's a soft touch. Gamboa at that point in his career. Please. But again, when you look at him next to Lomachenko, it's the perception. Oh wow! He's got to be busting out the seams because he's next to a guy who should be a super featherweight.
Yeah, I mean, what I'm saying? I think people love to go with feelings and their feelings and their biases. You tell me there's not a size difference, and Lomachenko's still gonna fight him. We'll see what happens, man. That's all I'm saying. By the way, here's another thing that. Go ahead, Gonzalo. You gonna say something?
I was just gonna throw in there too that the reason that I think that Andre Ward and Timothy Bradley were capping so hard for Ortiz is because in their minds, if Loma lost, it would have been like good riddance because he's like a nuisance to everybody. For like the Ryan Garcia, Gervonta Davis, Devin Haney, all these young contenders, pretenders, or like Haney's a champion. He kind of gets in the way between the American guys' plans. So it's like they were hoping if this guy loses, fucking roll him out of here. He's fucking the nuisance for everybody as far as like our agenda. So he didn't lose. Now he's fighting Haney. See what happens. But yeah, the Haney's obviously he looks like a fucking welterweight. While this guy looks like a super featherweight. I mean a featherweight.
Right. That's a good point, Gonzalo. That's a good theory there, Gonzalo. It could be because again, we can only go by what they say and try to formulate a hypothesis or a point of view on whether they're biased or not. I don't know. One thing for sure is this fight looks like it's going to be made as we near the end of 2022 and move on to 2023. But one last thing I want to talk about, because even one caller complained about it the other day. He says, when are you going to stop talking about Haney Lomachenko? Well, listen, today, because the fight looks like it's going to happen and Lomachenko took care of business. But I want to hear about this part here. Shout out to Jimenez, by the way. He posted this on the Twitter. And I want to get your points because I don't understand what Haney meant by this. Hold on a second. Hold on a second. Give me 2 seconds. Hold on a second. It's a video when they were talking to Haney in between fights. There we go.
I've been calling out Loma. Loma did give me a shot when sorry, but
hold on, let me rewind.
I've been calling out Loma. Loma did give me a shot when sorry, but it is what it is. The fans want.
All right, it cuts off there when he says something about the mandatory, but he says Loma gave me a shot. Now I'm confused. What the hell is he talking about?
He said Loma didn't give me a shot when I was his mandatory, but whatever. I was calling out Loma for a long time, but he didn't give me a shot when I was his mandatory. When he was named as mandatory, you were in a camp to fight Santiago, and he had just fought 2 weeks earlier. So were you supposed to fight then? No. You were in a camp to fight a guy in which you blew your shoulder apart, and you needed surgery. You didn't fight again from November the next year, and Loma had lost his belts. He's lying. But he counts on the fact that most of his fans, especially the ones on Twitter, are like that level of stupid where they take the oxygen out of the room, type of dumb, so they don't do any fight. They don't care. They'd rather just win a narrative war on Twitter than watch their fighter win a fight. And it just gets so repetitive and so stupid. And when I see the fighter promulgate the lie and just deliberately push that lie like that because he knows, that Twitter is full of bottom feeders who'll just be in your mentions. Oh, they talked to me. Even Haney said it. It's like, dude, shut the fuck up. But yeah, so that really infuriates me, man.
Nah, I mean, listen, it is what it is, Jimmy. That's what these guys talk the talk so that they can get the biggest fight. And it's preemptive striking. It's actually pretty smart from the Haneys. You can tell that Bill Haney has experience being a hustler. I mean, we know that from his past. But that's the way it's done nowadays.
Did he sound confident? Seriously, in that whole interview, that was a snippet. And the whole interview, he was stammering, the weight, and whatever. And if it was always going to be that way, but the problem, what I got with it, if you say he was too big and just never fought, Lomachenko, their paths never crossed and you just outgrew the division, fine. But you've been glory snatching off this dude's name forever. Your father ran his mouth about him. I don't know about that sister thing, if that's true. And now you're going to go on and lie about him like that on television, try to say he was ducking you or he didn't give you the shot like there was a contract offer or like when I was the mandatory. How could he duck a mandatory if it's mandated? That means he would have had to give up his belt. When you're mandated to fight somebody and you don't do it, you got to give up your belt. The reason he didn't have to, because it wasn't mandated. He was just mentioned as number one. Never mind that he was third in line. Again, the video you put together, Mr. BDA, if anybody wants to see the timetable, it's right there in black and white. It would not have happened. And he went on there to cap, to copy Twitter, just lie. And it's just wretched.
Gonzalo, how did he sound to you?
Devin Haney?
Yeah.
Well, it's part of like what the father does, like you were mentioning. Yeah, they wanna cater to the casuals. If you look at what the casual says, it doesn't matter what we say as long as the lie gets spread over and over again, it becomes a reality. So it's one of those things, man.
Yeah, that's exactly what it is, Gonzalo. And you know what's interesting though? We'll see, because I don't know about the whole, did he sound confident? And Jimmy's better at reading people than I am. But I did hear him say near the end there, he said, he already, something about ducking once or something. And then he said, we'll see what happens in negotiations. I go, well, wait a minute. What? This guy, Lomachenko, just told you to your face for the second time that, well, not to your face the second time, but overall, the second time that he's willing to do whatever terms you've got, let's just make the fight happen. That's how he's always been. Lomachenko has been nothing but consistent in making fights. You never hear him asking for more. You never hear him asking for more money. You never hear him asking for, well, this guy fight has to happen in my hometown or somewhere neutral. So I don't know why he would bring up the negotiation thing, but hopefully it happens. Look, they've got the same promoter. I don't see why it wouldn't happen. But in any event.
And Lomachenko conceded the A side. He straight up, you're the A side, you get the biggest slice, whatever, bro. You're the champion. Let's do it. Like you said, not trying to obstruct the feud in any way. You know what I mean? He's not talking about fucking all this other side bullshit. He's like, whatever, dude, you're the boss. You're the A side. Let's just make the fight. I'm a guy who should be a super featherweight. You know what I mean? It's the equivalent of fucking, he was going to start, everybody was in size differential. If you really looked at it, it would almost be Haney physically against Boots Ennis in the size. If they stood chest to chest, that's the size difference between the two. And it's just amazing when you got guys calling him overrated. He's got no, he's a bum, and everybody's nut huggers. And you just look at everybody he fights except for one guy, and that was Rigondeaux, was smaller than him because Rigondeaux did a 2-year Twitter campaign. And funny, all the same people who were, he's going to knock Lomachenko out. The minute he fucking quit on his stool, that was a fucking cherry pick. The same motherfuckers who were claiming he was going to spark out Loma went to cherry pick. And the same dudes who also credit Spence for beating Garcia, even though there was a larger size disparity between them two than there was between Loma and Rigondeaux. But I digress. Go, Mr. BDA.
Yeah, what I was going to say, because we got a lot to get to here, man. So hopefully that fight happens. It's supposed to, listen, there's no other fight that they really top rank can make. They don't want to be working with Ryan Garcia if they don't have to, or Tank Davis, who's, by the way, Tank Davis, his own promoter said, we want to keep everything in-house. These both, and by the way, Haney has all the belts. Lomachenko's the next best guy, so why not make it? I think I think they want to make it, but whether Devin Haney wants to, we'll see, man. Shout out to Michael Poe for his contribution with the super chat. He says, hold on a sec, let's see if I can put this up. He says, see happens to even Loma, but different scorecards are made for one fight, Haney versus Loma. I don't understand what that means. He happens to everybody. I think he's of the opinion that Loma didn't look all that great. Maybe that's what he's trying to say. But shout out to Michael Poe for his contribution.
Does he think he lost? Is that what he's saying, or does he just think the cards were wide? 117, 111 was a little wide, absolutely.
Right. We'd have to ask him to clarify. Now, I want to get to the other fight, the other lightweight fight of the night, the revelation. I think this guy stole the show, and that's saying something when Lomachenko's fighting. Talking about William El Camarón Zepeda beating Joseph Diaz Jr., aka Jojo. I mean, listen, man, this guy Zepeda is gonna be a problem for people. Before I go, I'll just say this, and then I'll add things later. I'll let you guys go, but I'll just say this: if you want to beat Camarón Zepeda, don't stand in front of him. And shout out to Jojo Diaz for fighting everybody, especially in a weight class in which he doesn't deserve to be in. But anyway, I'll add more to that later, man. What did you guys think about this fight?
It was also an entertaining fight. Man, this guy throws a lot of punches. And he doesn't get, like Canelo, I mean, he's a bigger weight. When he throws a lot of punches, he starts getting red like a tomato because of the lactic acid and the lack of oxygen. This guy's, this Camarón, he's white too, but he doesn't get like that. He's got oxygen for days. Mm-hmm. And even like Jojo Diaz, he's a good boxer and he's a strong dude. He blocked a lot. So even though Camarón was punching through the guard and at the gloves, and Jojo Diaz was doing a pretty good job of protecting himself, this guy would throw 5, 6, 7 punches and still keep throwing at the gloves and push past the kidneys and wherever he could get a piece of Jojo Diaz. And just by doing that alone, he was forcing the other guy back, Jojo, and he was hurting him. Incredible gas tank.
Absolutely. Yeah, the gas tank's the thing that surprised me because I was looking at those first 3 rounds. I was, can he keep this up? Because he's throwing hard. Jimmy, what did you think of this fight?
It went kind of like I thought it would. Jojo's a tough kid, without a doubt. I mean, he can take a big shot. He can send a good dick pic. But,
come on.
Well, come on. Zepeda, I didn't think it'd stop him because he's that tough. Jojo's just one of those dudes. He can take better than he can give. And I think Zepeda will stop a lot of other people. Jojo just is, again, a real tough kid. He's got a thick neck and he can take a good shot. But it was a lopsided, pretty much a one-way fight. No, this kid's legit. Zepeda's a legit kid. There's another dude that, you won't be seeing Tank Davis fight. Let's put it that way.
I got to tell you, man, before we continue, shout out to KG for his contribution to the Super Chat. No message left, but he nevertheless contributed with the Super Chat. Shout out to KG. Thanks a lot, man. Real appreciate it. And like King Butcher saying in the chat, hit the like, hit the like, hit the like. We appreciate that as well, man. We appreciate everybody that spreads the BDA gospel. We are on the true path of the Crimson Cross, and we need to really start educating people about the spiritual war that is in our midst. About Zepeda versus Jojo, I gotta tell you, man, within the first 4 rounds, Jojo was starting to bleed from the nose. Or was it from the eye? I forget. And he started to get a little red. Because, like Sergio Mora kept saying, you can't just stand in front of a puncher and block. Unless you have a Winky Wright, Joshua Clottey type of guard, which are some of the best guards I've ever seen. You can't really do that. And I said, oh boy, he's already getting marked up. I think this isn't going to be good, man. This ain't going to be good for Jojo. And then Zepeda started to labor a little bit to keep on throwing. Jojo tried to do what he could to punch in between Zepeda's shots, catch him with the flashier shots. But it just wasn't enough. And this Zepeda has shown that he's not just a puncher. He's a puncher who can keep on going for 12 rounds. He's going to be a problem, man. He's going to be a problem because he's got decent defense too. And listen, we got to compare fights here because that's what we do. It's the lightweight division and how would this guy do against that guy. Zepeda actually, he was able to push Jojo Diaz back. He didn't clinch all that much. I think near the end he was clinching a little bit, especially in the last round. He was just trying to buy time. But he would always try to flirt with something too. When Haney fought Jojo, there was some clinching in there. His jab got taken away. This guy just said, you know what? You're going to cover up in front of me. I'm just going to flood you with offense. It was something to behold. I don't know how many other guys are going to want to fight him because, like I said, he's going to give you a fight for as long as you go. I got to ask you something, guys. Seeing as how Ryan Garcia fell apart, seeing as how Davis also doesn't want to fight anybody outside his stable, or at least his promoter doesn't want him to fight anybody. Loma and Haney seem to be heading towards a fight there with Top Rank. Why not make Garcia versus Zepeda?
Yeah, why not? That'd be an interesting fight. And we just have to see with Zepeda as well. I mean, he is a pressure fighter. He does throw a lot of punches. But the guys that he pressured, and Jojo Diaz and Hector Tanajara, they weren't punchers. So it's one of those things to keep in mind that when you're punching, you got to think that the other guy's going to punch back. And I'm not saying that those guys that I just mentioned didn't. But when a guy punches back with more power, how's Zepeda going to do? Is he going to keep throwing a lot of punches and disregarding defense just like he did against Jojo Diaz, like I was saying in Tanajara? Because we saw, like, for example, we think of a pressure fighter like the guy that fought Jermel Charlo, Boxy Castano. Yeah, Castano, yeah, he can go after that dude. But when he finished punching, the other guy's going to punch back. And if the other guy got power, he can hurt you because just by the simple fact that you're throwing a lot of punches, you're getting tired too, and you're exposing yourself to get caught with a hard counter. I'm not saying that he's going to get hurt, but when he faces a bigger puncher like Ryan Garcia, you gotta pick and choose a little bit more wiser. Even Julio Cesar Chavez, what he had going for him, he had a good chin. He was a pressure fighter. He could throw a lot of punches, get in the trenches, and he had good defense. But he can also rely on that chin. I'm not saying that Cameron doesn't have that, but until you face a fighter that hits harder than Jojo and then Tanajara, then we can see we can actually say this guy's a fucking beast. Until then, I think he did good. But we're talking about Jojo Diaz to a Ryan Garcia type of power, Tank Davis, that changes.
Interesting. Yeah, that's a good point there, Gonzalo. That's a good point that Jojo Diaz is not a big puncher. And when he fought, what's his name? The Nicaraguan guy, his last, before Jojo Diaz. What was it?
Oh, yeah, Alvarado.
Alvarado, yes, thank you. Yeah, Alvarado. A lot of people, I remember looking at that thinking, well, he's not looking like he did against Tanajara and all that. So Alvarado's a bit of a bigger puncher. He's a tougher guy, stronger. So you might be right, man. But who would you guys pick?
Oh yeah, that's right. That he is a bigger puncher. That's right, BD. That I didn't see that fight, but yeah, kind of going to like what you mentioned right now. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Jimmy, who would you pick between Garcia and Zepeda if they were to fight right now?
Right now, I'd have to. I'd probably go with Zepeda.
Whoa.
Right now.
Well, I'll tell you why.
Confidence. But isn't Garcia already said he's not fighting at 135 anymore? So
did he?
Only at 140, I believe. Yeah, I believe that's what he said.
All right.
Last I said, but I mean that kid's all over the place. But
shout out to
he is kind of big, so you'd have to catch him with a shot. I'm sorry, Mr. BDA. Finish up.
Shout out to G Funky in the chat. He says that. Hold on a second. Where is it? He says, I was told by someone who covered the fight last night in San Diego that Zepeda doesn't want to go to 140 for Ryan. So shout out to G Funky. That seems to be in line with what you said too, Jimmy. That Ryan doesn't want to fight at 135 anymore. And now, according to this information, Zepeda's not willing to go to 140 either. Or maybe unless they pay him well. But fuck, that's a bit of a disappointment right there, because I was thinking, look, why not make that fight? Because if Garcia would have stayed at 135, the winner of Zepeda, Ryan Garcia, can come out of that with some clout and say, listen, I've got this win over a young undefeated power puncher. Who do the other guys have? You know what I mean? It would have been a plus. But unfortunately, apparently that fight's not going to happen. So it is what it is, man. But man, yeah, the lightweight division right now, unfortunately, some guys are getting out of there. Like Ryan Garcia seems to be getting out of there. Devin Haney seems like he's gonna. We don't even know if the Loma fight's gonna happen. Hopefully it happens. But yeah, some guys are vacating that division, man. It's a shame because now we got Zepeda in there, El Camarón. And I tell you what I like about El Camarón is, like I said, he makes the fight happen. He goes in there, throws a lot of shots, wants to make it entertaining. That's what I call must-see TV right there. And I also want to talk a little bit about Roca, who fought on the undercard. This guy is a strong southpaw. You can hear his thudding shots when he punches. Why don't they put... Look, if Virgil Ortiz, if he can get an opponent, especially with if anybody from the PBC side of the street, why don't they put him in there with Roca? Wouldn't that be a great fight? Well, I mean, a great fight. Would that be as better than anything we've seen right now or for the past 8 months?
Yeah, he doesn't seem like he's ever gonna be like a real big superstar. He's kind of like quiet and like, I don't know. He's good, but I don't think he's like that good. But he is a tough dude. So I mean, yeah, He's there for a reason, I think. And it's if I were a Golden Boy, I'd pit him against one guy. And Roca's pretty much like a B fighter within your own stable. Mm-hmm. He could upset somebody. I'm not saying he can, because we're all born with two hands. So yeah.
I mean, listen. There's a lot of stalling right now in the welterweight division. Even on the PBC side of the street, they're not really fighting each other. So to expect a guy from Golden Boy to get a shot at one of the guys from the PBC, it's gonna be difficult, man. It's gonna be difficult. But hey, listen, like that's what I'm saying. If they can get him, any of those guys, put Virgil Ortiz against Roca. Why not, man? I think it would be a good one. Now listen, we got a lot to get to. We will revisit some of these fights, I suppose, when we open up the phone lines. And I got a couple of other tidbits of news that we can talk about. And some things that I want to ask you guys. Well, I'm curious to get your opinions on this. But I gotta say this, man. You guys are gonna think I'm crazy for bringing this up. But Jake Paul, last night, you guys are gonna think I'm crazy, but he showed improvement, man. He showed improvement last night. Look, there's two ways to look at it. He beat Anderson Silva, by the way. I forget by what type of decision was it? Unanimous decision. There you go. Beating up one of the greatest MMA fighters of all time. But, I mean, there's two ways of looking at it. One, Jake Paul, you got to give him credit because he's not a boxer. He just recently started taking it up, and he's just training really hard to try to make something happen. But on the other hand, Silva's not a boxer. I mean, yeah, you can call him one of the greatest strikers, if not the greatest striker in MMA history, but that's MMA. I mean, there's degrees. And he was almost 50 years old. But then again,
yeah,
Jake Paul... Yeah.
No, I would say the age more than the inexperience, because Silva, I believe, fought in amateurs as a boxer, and he did beat Julio Cesar Chavez Jr., who was a professional boxer for whatever it's worth, but he did. So the fact that he went out there and beat him in a unanimous decision, yeah, I mean, the kid's obviously going through real camps. He's down in Puerto Rico training in real camps with real fighters and real trainers. It's all about how much is he going to put into it, you know?
I mean, this is
I don't know if it's true. But I also heard a rumor, maybe you guys can point him out, but it's supposedly Muhammad Ali's grandson fought on one of the cards.
Oh, yeah. Nico Ali who fought last night, and apparently he's got a big ass.
That's his name. Right.
He's got a big ass Muhammad Ali tattoo on his arm. I mean, it's just it's a little disturbing now how far they're trying to push this whole. Every time he fights, they have to show a pre-fight package. A video package of him.
The legend continues.
Yeah, I mean, Luis. Look, I know he's not his father. He's just a family member. Muhammad Ali was a family relation. But, you know, when you have Julio Cesar Chavez Jr. or of all these other guys with famous fathers, yeah, they'll mention the father here and there. But this, it's not even his father. It's his, what was, great-grandfather or grandfather?
It was his grandfather. But the language, the legend continues, which is to say it's continuing. Muhammad Ali's greatness is continuing with his grandson. It's like, why even tie it in together? His last name isn't even Ali. He just adopts it as a fighter name so everybody knows who he is. Yeah, his father, it's not really Ali.
And he wears the Muhammad Ali shorts, and when he does get a knockdown, I don't think he did this fight, he'll do the Ali shuffle when he goes back to his corner.
But I mean, oh my God, he was waving his arms up to get the crowd. Like, come on, man, cheer on. It's like, sit down, dude. They're fucking handing you guys they're hand feeding you, guys to get knocked out. I don't know. How does he not see that? You just do your job quietly, move along the ranks. And if you are something, then we'll see then. But at this stage of your career to be acting like that, it's like, dude, stop it.
Now, I got a question, though. Does Top Rank think that this is actually going to sell? You know what I mean? How many people is this attracting? I can't imagine too many casuals going, oh, wait, Ali, let's go pay to watch this guy fighting on a... I don't even know if it was...
Bob's love for the family.
Well, I mean, that's...
I think Bob really does care about the Ali family, was very close with them, so maybe he's just throwing them a bone, but pedal it back a little now.
But we can all agree, Bob Arum, Top Rank, whatever. It's a business. He's the consummate business guy. I don't see him doing this out of love. You know what I mean? It's like he must have a long-term plan or so. Or maybe this is just one of those side attractions that they've got. Like, what else? Like Butterbean and Mia St. John and what was the other one? Christy Martin.
It's about the money. Yeah, they're tying his name in just for the marquee value for the money, of course. As he's a member of the tribe. He ain't doing nothing for free. Let's just be straight up, man.
Shout out to KG for his contribution to the super chat. He says, salute to the panel. You guys get me through work. Well, shout out to KG. Thank you for your contribution. And I'm glad we could help, man. I'm glad we could help. We're still going to be here. KG. We're still going to be here for at least an hour. But hey, Jimmy, you got me out of my fucking groove here. Jake Paul. What did you think about Jake Paul?
Well, I said it before, there's some condensation. I got kind of some grief for it. But I said he is going to real camps. You know what I mean? He's actually going down to Puerto Rico, sequestering himself down there, and going through real camps with real trainers, sparring real dudes. And so, regardless, he's getting in the ring. And listen, he might be 50 years old, but by far the best boxer he's ever faced. And to your point, I didn't see the fight till this morning. I caught, just the highlights. But from what I could see so far, yeah, there's improvement. But that's not, not to be surprised. I mean, he would imagine if every camp you go, you're going to get better. At some point, he needs to start fighting guys like another professional boxer with a 6-0 record on the up. But the problem with that, they can't sell it as a pay-per-view. And here's the dilemma, right? If you want to be a professional boxer, Jake, knock it off. Go to Top Rank, or even if you want to promote your own shit, but you're going on first, bro. You're not going on as the fucking headline. Go against a dude in a 6 or 8 rounder, some guy that you should be who's 8-0 or whatever, and do it earlier in the fight. And then if you really want to be serious about your boxing career, like he says, you got to do it that way. Searching out people who have some sort of name recognition so you could put it on fucking pay-per-view is a joke. And you're only going to just piss off the fucking fans. But if he was to fight, say last night he took out some guy who was 6-0 and he fought on that card in a 6-round fight, what can you say? Okay, he's going the right way. But it's because of the circus atmosphere and the pay-per-view. He's never going to be taken serious, so it's a catch-22. But that's my theory on him.
That's a good point. Yeah, it's a weird business that they've got going here. We're trying to get this guy to become some sort of boxer, but then at the same time they'll rely on I'm not a boxer excuse, to sort of smooth out any criticism that people might have about him. But by the way, shout out to Dennis F. from Boston for his contribution to the Super Chat. He says, the only good thing about Ali's dad's Irish. Only good thing about Nico Ali's dad is Irish. Oh, come on. He's like Andre Ward then. Hey, maybe he'll be like Andre Ward, half black, half Irish. Maybe that combination will lead to a killer career. You never know, man. Shout out to Dennis F. from Boston. Good to hear from him.
Dennis, what's up, buddy?
That's right. A fellow Massachusetts guy, right there, Jimmy?
A fellow masshole. Yeah.
Oh, come on. But listen, the only reason why I'm bringing Jake Paul is because it's a bizarre thing that's going on in boxing right now, where a lot of people thought that he was going to be like the pay-per-view buys were going to be up nonstop, right? After he fought Ben Askren and all those guys. Now I'm curious to see what numbers this does against Silva. Now, the other thing I want to talk about is that the striking aspect, because again, like I said, Anderson Silva, they used to call him the Roy Jones of the MMA world because he was very flashy, put his hands down and do things that nobody else was doing when it came to striking. But it just goes to show you the difference between boxing and boxing in MMA, and that is the sharpness, the speed. There's a big difference. You saw what happened with Silva. He had the right idea. He said, I'm going to tire this kid out because he's never been in a combat situation where you're going to have to tire this guy out. So he said, I'm going to put the pressure on him. Problem is, there's a way to put pressure, especially against a puncher, and that is tuck your chin and put your hands up. Those are the two basic things. And then there's more, of course, but those are the two first that I would tell anybody. This guy goes in there with his hands down, chin up in the air. By the time the final round came along, it was an 8th rounder, by the way. In the 8th round, he goes in there chasing Jake Paul. I said, this guy's going to get caught with something. And would you know it, a couple of seconds later, boom, gets caught with the right hand, gets dropped. This is the other thing that Jake Paul's been getting away with, that he's fighting a lot of MMA guys, whereas he's training a full-on boxing. So his technique is getting a little bit more refined, where those other MMA guys. And you know what? I get the feeling that a lot of these MMA guys with boxing, they think it's easy. They hit the pads, they do the drills, and they think, oh, now it's just a question of getting into sparring, and I'm going to do everything I did in the pads in the sparring. And then they realize it's one thing to hit the back 10 rounds, 12 rounds, hit the mitts, the double end bag. You get in there in the sparring, now you got somebody moving differently, hitting you actually. Now you're worried about what's coming back. I think a lot of these MMA guys, if they want to get into boxing, they really do have to take a little bit more seriously and refine some of the flaws that they have. But anyway, that was my spiel on that. Either way, Anderson Silva would have murdered Jake Paul in a street fight. So I don't think MMA fans should feel too bad, because I've seen some people saying, oh, MMA fans are on suicide watch. I mean, come on. Silva would kill Jake Paul in a street fight. He would kick his knee off. You know what I mean? So it is what it is, man. But hey, we'll see what happens with the Jake Paul train. I give him credit. He improved. He improved his stamina. He's actually got pretty decent footwork. So we'll see what happens there, man. We're going to open up the phone lines, fellas. Open up the phone lines. So if you want to call in, talk about all the fights that took place last night, that's what we're going to do. I also got a couple of other tidbits that we can talk about here. Some comings and goings in the boxing world. You guys want to say anything while I open up the phone lines? Take it away if you want to. All right. I'll talk then. Don't, you know me. No problem with that. Oh, by the way, if we do get a lot of... What?
So, sorry, I couldn't get my mute wouldn't shut off. I mean, turn back off. I was sitting there smacking it and it wouldn't come back off. But yeah, no, I was going to say, I just want to comment on the younger cards, the cards before that. We didn't even see Keyshawn, but I'll tell you, man, Bob signed him. He's got a good crop of good prospects. Did you see the whole card on ESPN Plus? I don't know if you saw all the fights.
Nah, man, I didn't even catch
himself. He got a good crop of young fighters, except for the one who went on before Lomachenko. Did you see that fight? That kid clinched his way. Oh my God, the clinching.
I didn't see him, man. By the way, how did Robesi Ramirez fight? Because I didn't get a chance to catch that one either.
No, Ramirez won. Yeah.
Yeah, he knocked him out on the 9th round.
And was that his opponent? Was he the one that was... But his opponent, was he the guy that was clinching a lot, or are you talking about another fight?
Another one went to the decision. What was his name? He was a smaller size. It was the fight, the second one before the main event. I was the one that thought, I mean, out of all the fights, he's the one that did the least. He was the least impressive. A lot of clinching. That was his first reaction. But yeah, but he's got a lot of good talent coming up. Just wanted to say that.
Yeah, but I heard some people on the Discord too say, though, that there were a lot of mismatches on that top rank undercard. Too many prospects versus no hopers. So I don't know, but I'll take your word for it, Jimmy.
I think they were all undefeated. I mean, 2 of the 3 or 4 were facing other undefeated guys.
Oh, really?
With one loss. Yeah, these weren't like, like PBC no hope matches with a guy like, I mean, they literally took the guy who was fucking, at the vendor shop up there selling hot dogs. Hey, dude, man, get over here. You know what I mean? So
yeah, we know people have done that before. But I fucking Torres, the heavyweight with the porn stash, he fought too as well. And apparently the referee, what's his name again? The son of the Mercanti Jr., he was warning the guy for clinching, and I'm going to get into that because Ryan Garcia, he tweeted something about clinching, and I'm glad that people are calling out the clinching now, because it really is marring the sport. The sport's got enough problems. We don't need people clinching it up throughout the fight. Like I said, phone lines are open, fellas. Phone lines are open.
And
yeah,
Torres crowded the shit out of himself too. I didn't like that. He gets too excited still. There's another kid on who signed from Cincinnati. It was a southpaw, one of the first kids. I forget his last name now, but he was good. But he needs to change up. Everything was coming the same speed, same height, and weight behind it. But he's clearly got some good talent coming through.
Absolutely, man. Listen, Richard Torres can crack, but that's one thing you don't want to smother yourself. You really don't want to do that, man. But he can crack, man. We'll see what happens. Maybe a Jared Anderson fight down the line. All right, well, listen, the phone lines are open. I see we already got people calling in. Don't forget to make your points concise and precise. because we're going to get a lot of phone calls, I think. And if we don't, well, we'll see what happens. We'll take it step by step, fellas. Don't worry about it. Mr. BDA will guide you through the proceedings. Let me just make sure. Oh, by the way, Kenshiro says, can I open up StreamYard? The last times that I've tried opening up StreamYard and the phone lines, it gets all fucked up. But I'll try, man. I'll try just once and then I'll shut it off before it fucks everything up. If indeed it fucks everything up. But I'll try. Let me just get to these phone calls and then I'll experiment with the StreamYard. Let's go to 760. You're on the air. 760. What's on your mind?
Hey, what's up, BDA? It's Don Chingazos.
Oh, Don Chingazos. What's up, man?
What's up? And remember, I told you guys that the Camarón Zepeda fight was gonna be the best of the night, and in my opinion, it was. And I got my prediction wrong a little bit because I thought Camarón Zepeda was gonna finish Giorgio with a TKO, but it turns out that I underestimated Giorgio's chin. And the thing is, Giorgio, his head is bigger than his torso, you see? So it's very hard to finish him.
Yeah, man.
What's up? Can you hear me, BD?
Yeah, I can hear you, man. I can hear you.
Oh, yeah. All right. Yeah, so, but yeah, that fight was pure fireworks. I had Camarón winning every single round. I didn't give any round to Giorgio. Giorgio did good. He has heart. He was in there. And like I said, Camarón was gonna use his jab, and he did, and he was gonna land body shots on Giorgio. But yeah, I underestimated Giorgio's chin, but it was a complete domination. And the thing about Camarón is he has that stamina. A lot of people are barely finding out who he is, but yeah, that guy has a lot of stamina. That's one of his biggest weapons.
Big gas tank, yeah. Now, what do you think is next for Camarón? Yeah, go ahead.
It's hard to predict how they're gonna run his career, but I expect a big fight because he just beat Giorgio Diaz, and that's a former champion. So maybe I don't know who they'll match him up against. I would like to see him against Pitbull Cruz or against Shakur Stevenson or against Devin Haney, even Lomachenko. I would like to see him against Lomachenko. Let's see how Lomachenko deals with the Mexican that could bring it like that. That's,
you think that would happen though?
5'8", 5'9", you know?
You think that would happen though with different promotional entities?
No, I don't think so. But I'm just putting it out there as that would be a good matchup since they're both in the 135 division. But yeah, there's too many promotional roadblocks to prevent that fight from happening. But yeah, I was just putting it out there. And on the Lomachenko fight, yeah, I brought it up here that Ortiz wasn't going to be an easy fight for Lomachenko because I was hearing this narrative that Ortiz was a cherry pick and all this bullshit. But now Ortiz had the size advantage, he had the reach advantage, he had youth on his side. So of course it wasn't going to be easy for Lomachenko. And I even called it out correctly because I told you guys Ortiz was going to look good in the beginning, but he was going to fade away in the later rounds. And I think that's how it went, right?
Yeah.
Like the fight.
Yeah. Listen, the
clinching won by like 2 rounds.
The clinching can only get you through far, man. From Ortiz, that's it's not gonna help you out. I mean, it helps you out a lot, but it's not gonna win you the fight. You gotta score the blows, man. So listen, Don Chingazos, man, we gotta move on to another phone call, my man. But anything else you want to say before we move on?
No, that's it. And hey, I tried commenting on the laptop, but it still didn't put me through. There's some powers out there blocking me from the BDA chat. But
I don't know what's going on, man. Because again,
have a good day.
All right, you too, man. Yeah, I checked the band list. You're not there, so I don't know what. It's a weird glitch, man. Maybe just use another name to comment on the BDA, because I don't know what's going on, man. I'll look into it. I haven't Googled it yet. I'll see what's going on there. Hey guys, don't forget to hit the like, subscribe if you haven't subscribed already. All right, fellas, make sure to do that. Spread the BDA gospel. All right, let's go to another phone call here. Let's go to 470. You're on the air. 470. What's on your mind?
What up? Y'all can hear me?
Yeah, we can hear you, man.
All right. I'm never sober in the Discord. I just wanted to say 2 things. I wanted to comment on Giorgio Diaz on how he needs to leave 135 and suck himself down in 126 or 130 because he looks too slow at 135. He's a punching bag. He doesn't have the activity. He don't got the power to hurt anybody. He just, I don't know. I didn't thought he looked like hot dog shit against Zepeda.
All right.
And he needs to get out of that weight class ASAP. And then someone try to Me Too him. There's some sexual allegations against him.
Yeah, that's what Jimmy referenced to earlier. That's what Jimmy referenced earlier. Apparently, the guy he's been sending dick pics, and I think they might have been towards a minor, which is a big. That's a big problem right there, man. So we'll see if he gets out of that one, or if he's even guilty of that. Because I don't know, man. It's allegations. Who knows? All right.
Well, let me cut you off. But yeah,
no, that's okay. Yeah.
The unsolicited dick pic. And then the other thing I wanted to comment on was on Jake Paul, man. He's actually looking like he's learning something. He has the money and he has the time to really dedicate himself to get pretty decent at boxing. I don't think he'll ever be like a championship level, but he's decent. He's a decent brawler. I think he can be a decent brawler. He got some power, and it looked like Silva was playing around a little bit in there, but I mean that's just how he fights. That knockdown was legit. And boxing fans should be happy, dude, because he's embarrassing the shit out of Dana White and MMA by making them all look like that. Because Nate Diaz is next, and he's going to sleep Nick Diaz.
And it's Nick Diaz. It's not even Nate Diaz.
Better numbers than any boxing fight in the next year.
Man, we'll see what happens, man. That's the next one. Nick Diaz, not Nate Diaz. I was getting confused there. All right,
no, listen, not Nick.
Right. All right, well, listen,
it'll be the younger brother.
Okay, so it is going to be Nate Diaz then, the guy that fought McGregor twice.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
Good to know, man. Good to know. All right, well, listen, Never Sober. Thank you for your call, man, and call back next time, all right?
All right, for sure.
All right, take it easy, man. All right, let's go to another phone call here. Let's go to 914. 914, you're on the air. 914, what's on your mind?
What's up, guys? It's Fernando. What's up with BDA? Gonzalo, Jimmy.
What's up, man?
This William Zepeda guy, very exciting fighter, very fan friendly.
What's up, buddy?
I mean, he's got great stamina, crazy output, man, crazy output. If he ever fights again, I want it to be televised because I'm going to tune in again. It was just good. I think that, to me, it was like the Lomachenko fight was also exciting because I thought it could have been a draw if they wanted it to go that way. I see that 7-5 makes sense for Lomachenko. I didn't like the scheduling of all these fights because it was like one over the other. They were overlapping each other, all of them. But I kind of want to disagree with something Gonzalo said, and I really value everything that Gonzalo says. But I thought they were like the commentary with ESPN. They were more on Lomachenko's side, and they were kind of not really saying what Jermaine Ortiz was doing in the first 6 rounds. I guess, you could say you could give like 4 to 5 of the first 6 to Jermaine. But I felt like they were more on Lomachenko's side with the downloading information, and they were kind of waiting for Lomachenko to get switched on. I don't know. How do you guys feel?
I thought, listen, there was a lot of clinching there that threw him off, man. That breaks up a rhythm. I saw him consistently landing the harder shots. Well, maybe in the middle rounds it started becoming a little bit more competitive because there was a little bit more clinching and movement from Ortiz. But ultimately, I saw him winning, especially when he pulled off those last 3 rounds. It was a competitive fight. But it just goes to show you, man, a lot of people have him on a pedestal. They really do believe. Listen, a lot of people complain about how there's, the Top Rank and ESPN overhyped him. I think they believe the hype. And that's why they're frustrated when they see him having competitive fights. They go, well, I bought the hype. So I think they're angry about them, about having been duped. I think that's the problem here. But Lomachenko, listen, he came back after a 10-month layoff against an undefeated guy, pulled off the win, landed the harder shots, ended strongly. I think he did what he was supposed to do. Now let's see if the Haney fight happens, because Haney said, let's wait until negotiations. So he's already he's already talked about 140. So I don't know. It seems like he's throwing hints out there that he might not want to be into this fight, man. But anyway, listen, man.
In terms of a wake-up call, that's the best wake-up call Lomachenko could get before going into an undisputed fight if the Devin Haney fight happens. One more thing I want to add. I also thought it was weird that Teofimo was like they interviewed him, and he looked kind of out of it, and he was saying some weird stuff about the Arnold, like, I'll beat Arnold Barboza, so I'm not gonna fight him. Well, what are you doing fighting I forget his name now, the guy that Tank knocked out 2 years ago or 4 years ago.
Pedraza. Yeah, but when is that? By the way, when did that interview happen? By the way, the Teofimo interview?
I saw it on YouTube.
Oh, okay. Yeah, that Teofimo.
But he was in the MSG, and it was weird, man. It was weird. Like he always looks very spaced out, and hopefully he can get his mind right, and he's able to perform at that top level he once performed when he defeated Lomachenko in a competitive fight.
Did you guys hear that, by the way? Did you guys see Teofimo Lopez interview?
Yeah,
Yes.
that was prior to the fight.
Okay.
He said he thought that Lomachenko was going to beat Ortiz.
Well, there you go. Well,
Yes. I saw it,
4-round knockout or something like that.
Oh, okay. I was going to say he got
right.
the prediction right, but then, 4th round knockout. That's not how he went. Well, listen, never's over. We do have to move on to another phone call, man, but thank you for calling in, and we'll catch you on the next one, all right, man?
Well,
All right, thanks, guys. Great work as always.
Thank you,
guys
man.
contrast each other very well, and like whatever you guys say, you always back it up with like put your own takes on things, and you guys bring in the facts. So always a great channel.
Thank you. Appreciate that, man. Thank you for
appreciate
calling
that,
in, man.
buddy.
Call back next time, man. All right. Sorry, one of you guys were going to say something, I think?
Well, I don't think that's not like when you say something like, "Oh, it's going to be a 4." I think Lomachenko's going to knock him out 4 rounds. That way, when it doesn't happen, you can then say, "Well, should have beat him easier than that," or like, you know what I'm saying? I think that's almost sets him up for insults. Because if anybody saw Jermaine Ortiz, should have known he wasn't going to stop him in 4 rounds.
Mm-hmm.
Like you said, Gonzalo talked. Jermaine Ortiz is a legit dude. Like right now, straight up, it would be the best opponent if Haney was to fight him. Davis was to fight him next. They would announce that fight. It would be the best opponent he's faced at 135, hands down.
Oh, interesting. All
Well,
right.
I mean, but look at it, just who he's fought, and there's not even actually any comparison at 135.
There you go. All right, let's go to another phone call here. Let's go to 541. 541, you're in the air. 541, what's on your mind? 541, you're in the air.
Can you guys hear me?
Yeah, we can hear you, man.
Hey, my name's Marco. I'm from Oregon. So what's up to the panel? I've been a long time listener. And I just want to get well, I felt like Jermaine Ortiz was real big. Like, I didn't know who this guy was, but as soon as I saw, can you guys hear me?
Yeah, we can hear you, man.
All right. Yeah, man, I didn't know who he was. I thought Lomachenko was gonna like blow through him, maybe 6 rounds. But goddamn, the guy was big. As soon as I saw him, the way Lomachenko was reacting to those shots when he was covering them, it's like, man, this guy's kind of big, man. He's looking like a light welterweight, like 140 pounder, But I don't know. I was kind of expected, but I think these guys are starting to get real big for Lomachenko, and maybe one of these upcoming guys can, eventually take him out. So I don't know if if he's gonna fight Haney, that would be the good time, get all the belts and make legacy, and that's it, And Lomachenko's getting up there in age, and you're starting to see it. You know what I mean?
Well, listen.
I feel like you're starting to see the way Lomachenko's performing.
He said, "Listen,
because those guys are big, but yeah."
He said, "You're the A side. I concede everything you want in the contract. Let's make it happen." That sounds like a guy that wants to fight. Haney's the guy that said, "We'll see what happens in negotiations." So I don't know. It sounds to me like if you want to go by what they're saying, which is what people have been doing for the past 2 years. Oh, this guy said this guy said that this guy called him out. We'll see what happens, man. But listen, caller, we do have to move on to another phone call, man. Anything else you want to say before we move on?
I don't know if you guys want to chime in a little bit on the heavyweight. What was his name? Richard Torres.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't. It was. I heard you guys talking about him. I think it was Gonzalo, and I checked him out. And he's pretty good. He's strong. He's fast. But man, like,
I feel like he I don't know if you guys noticed, but he's like real. He gets real close, like to the opponent. That he doesn't let. He has long arms, you know. He gets a little too close. He smothers. But I thought he was pretty good, and man, I just hope this fool knocks Wilder out, man. If he ever gets a chance. All right, man. Well, thank you guys.
All right, man. Well, listen, thank you for your call,
if
man.
ever, you know, like just like a crossover fight, you know.
Sure, man. Why not, man?
All right, man.
All right, man. Hey, listen, good call. Call back next time, right, man?
All right, thank you.
All right, take it easy. Hey, that Oregon, man, they got some. They got some good.
It's infectious, though. The laugh is infectious, no.
Right?
He infected me,
I
man.
know.
Yeah.
He was like, that was funny, man. He was a happy kid, man. He had everybody laughing.
Okay, natural.
You gotta put on a happy face, man. Yeah, what you guys want to comment on that real quick before we continue on with the callers?
Yeah, hey, BDA, what about this? Look, Lomachenko has already been. He's been fighting for quite a few years now. Like, yeah, he was an amateur, like 4 or 5 years since like the younger generation has been watching him. And when he busted onto the scene, his whole style was like a novelty. But do you think like this new generation is picking up on the style and the blueprint is kind of out there to where they're understanding that what we got to do against Lomachenko is mirror the footwork. If we can keep up with his legs, we have a chance of blocking them angles. And I'm not saying that you're gonna beat the guy by doing that, but at least the fighters are showing a little bit more resistance. It's like when Julio Cesar Chavez popularized the body shot. I mean, body punchers have always existed, but now you see a lot of people going to the body consistently, and probably you could say more than before. Now the new generation angles. We saw Bam Rodriguez. It's kind of also become more popularized, like with everything in life. There's an evolution of things. It's more natural to the new generation to pick up on that. That now it's not like it was a novelty like a few years ago. I'm thinking.
Like the shoulder roll was after Floyd made it popular. Now, it absolutely. Bam Rodriguez openly admits he studies Lomachenko's things, and that was always the thing. If you could anticipate or move with his angles, you'll catch. Because when it's getting hit with those shots while he's angling you, and how many? I think what did they say? 50, 60 rounds he sparred with Lomachenko, getting him ready for the Comey fight. I mean, so it wasn't just, so he picked up a lot of things on Lomachenko. The only thing, it's just, Lomachenko's not trying to knock you out, and you don't have headgear on and those other things. So it helps. You learn a lot of things that Loma's going to do. But yeah, I think a lot of people are really adopting that, Gonzalo. You're right.
And I was listening to what Fernando was mentioning, and I'm also thinking, okay, maybe it's not just hate on Timothy Bradley and Andre Ward. Maybe they're seeing it too. They're not that mesmerized. People are not that mesmerized. Like you shouldn't be. You shouldn't be afraid of your opponent. They're understanding what Lomachenko does, and they're kind of also like becoming more adept at that style and understanding what he's doing as well. And they're being more competitive in that regard. And obviously with the feet, as far as like the angles, they can also do it. I mean, we got 2 hands and we also got 2 feet. So whatever Lomachenko does, other fighters can do as well.
And it's not so much Andre Ward as it's Timothy Bradley. Andre Ward is still, you can tell, thoroughly impressed with Lomachenko and what he does. I think he tries to tamper it down so he's not called that. You know what I mean? The names I've seen him get called if he praises him too much. But Tim Bradley, without a doubt, wanted Ortiz to win that fight. Without a doubt. You could actually hear the disappointment in his voice when he realized he wasn't going to win. When Lomachenko came along those last 4 rounds and took over.
I'm going to have to re-listen to that just to see it, man. Yeah, but hey, Gonzalo, just to your point real quick, when Ortiz said it himself, he says, I've studied Loma, and after a while, you can pretty much see the same thing. Now, it's one thing to notice what a guy does and actually stopping it, but I think you're right. I think the book's out a little bit on Loma. I think some people have already figured out some of the things that he does and how to stall that, particularly with the clinching that Ortiz implemented last night. So I think Loma now, it behooves him to change it up and maybe be a little rougher too, go more to the body. That's one thing I didn't see too much. And another thing I didn't like from Lomachenko last night was something that I saw against Campbell, and I pointed this out before the Lopez fight, was that he tends, when he's fighting taller guys who know how to use the reach or just try to stay away from him, he tends to leap in. That's a big bozo no-no. You're going to get caught that way. And what he was doing is he was jumping in, and so Ortiz would stop, and then that would facilitate the clinch. If you want to get rid of the clinch, you got to be a little bit more cautious. Hey, guys, I'll be right back, all right? Take over for 2 minutes, please.
Yeah, he was... To what you were saying, he would jump in, he would leap in because he's trying to catch him between timing, and he did catch him, not with a strap, but that's the reason why Ortiz would, instead of like, he would just reach out and grab him. Anytime like Loma would want to jump into the kitchen, he would just meet him at the doorway and boom, grab him to keep anything from happening. But that referee, man, I'll tell you right now, how many times did Ortiz hold Loma by the back of the head and throw uppercuts into his face? You can't do that. I mean, clinching, it was so many times. So I don't want to hear that Lomachenko's like, everybody's pulling for this kid to win. So I'll tell you right now, the referee wasn't doing him any favors last night with the clinching. But that goes to, I think, the larger whole scale. It's just the amount of clinching happening now is so obvious. And
you think he looked a little frustrated in the beginning?
Who's that?
You know how Canelo looks frustrated? Canelo, like a little frustration. Like permeating there in I don't know, something about his attitude, his behavior. I mean, Lomachenko.
I think he was with Loma. I think he was just trying to get his rhythm. Ortiz was smart. He was changing his rhythm up, changing the height of his hands, changing his sometimes holding his hands like close together in his face, dropping them down. He was just doing constant different things because he knows when Loma, that's with any fighter. Once they have your rhythm down, and they get once your timing and your rhythm down, and if they have accurate punches, you're in for a world of hurt. So it behooves him to be erratic. What do you say?
And adding to that erraticness, he is a southpaw. And when he was training with Lomachenko, I think Comey's a right-hander. So he's actually like a switch hitter, but he was sparring with Lomachenko, but he was showing him the right-handed stance in order to prepare for Comey. Now, you didn't have to show him all your tricks, and you weren't necessarily going to go southpaw when he was Loma was preparing for a right-hander, so he was fighting like a righty. Now in the fight, he was doing really well as a southpaw, so he switched that up on Lomachenko. I think.
But he abandoned it though, and he did it for kind of one round. Then he abandoned it once he caught a body shot. He caught a wicked shot to the liver, and he stopped because he's much more right hand dominant. So he fights better out of the orthodox, but he can. But Loma said at the end of the fight that they did prepare for that because he would switch in training camp. He was doing it during camp too. So for whatever that's worth.
We gotta move on to the
and also the eye that got beat up. No, when he switched up stances, they started saying Timothy Bradley in the underworld. Oh, now he got the good eye in the front. Now he can see because he. Yeah.
We got to move on to the phone calls. We got to move on to the phone calls, fellas. We got to move on to the phone calls, man. But real quick. Again, I don't understand this argument. Easy Dimas. I don't understand if he doesn't sound like he's making an argument. He's just making a statement saying clinching is part of boxing. I don't understand if he's saying that that's good or bad or if he's justifying it, but low blows are part of boxing too, headbutts. That doesn't make him right. The Marquess of Queensberry rules are quite clear on that. No clinching, no wrestling. So when people go, well, it's always been done, that's not a good argument. That you can't just excuse it. Look at this. No wrestling, clinching allowed. I don't understand why people keep going. That's a
for years, that's a new phenomenon too, Mr. BDA. That was the thing. They would right away stop the clinch and let go, especially if someone chicken armed you, like chicken wing they call it, you know what I mean? Like they got their hands up, but they're clinching your arm under their elbow against their body. That was always a big no-no, man. You get warnings, especially in the images with that. Real quick.
It's like it's the people that don't understand that, like people that don't understand simple things of boxing, like for example, amateurs, they don't wear headgear anymore. Just little stuff like that. People really need to look into that. Let's go to continue on with the phone calls here. Let's go to 504. By the way, don't forget to hit the like, fellas. Hit the like. 504, you're on the air. 504, what's on your mind?
Hey, man, I wanted to come on and I want to talk about the Lomachenko fight, and I'll just respond to Gonzalo real quick. I feel like people, to a degree, people, once you're doing something great for a long time, like people start to study it and examine it, break it down, and then, they start to, try to figure it out. But I think the thing is, that's with any fighter. Like, if you study them long enough, you can figure out what they do. We're human beings, But at the same time, though, The problem with it is, and that Jermaine struggled with, is if you try to keep up with Lomachenko's movement, same thing with Usyk, right, in heavyweights, you're going to tire yourself out. And so in those beginning rounds, Jermaine was really able to put it on Loma. But as the fight started to go on and he started to take shots, body shots, he can get caught and get countered, and he's throwing a lot of shots and missing a lot of shots. And then he's trying to keep up with the angles and movement. He started to gas out. And once he got tired, he wasn't able to keep up that pace and be up on Lomachenko. Then Lomachenko was really able to find his rhythm and start really putting it on him. And then by the end of the fight, I mean, for me personally, I had him sweeping the championship rounds, Lomachenko, because, the kid had nothing. He didn't have anything left, and this was his first 12-rounder. And so I think that's a big part of it too. Like, yeah, you might be able to see what Lomachenko's doing, but can you keep up with it? Can you keep it up all night to defend it? And, and that's part of the skill and the specialty of, Lomachenko and why he's so great. And I think, this is something that's going to make Devin struggle, because Devin has stamina issues to my eye. Devin can struggle at times, with stamina. And so he's not going to keep Lomachenko off with just that jab. As skilled as Devin is, he's not going to be able to keep him off. And if he's moving the whole time and moving with Lomachenko and then trying to jab and hit Lomachenko and miss, if Devin, gasses out or starts having problems, then Lomachenko is going to be able to get in there and really put it on him. So,
interesting point, man. Interesting point.
People got to stop. People got to stop disrespecting. Oh yeah.
No, go ahead, man. Sorry.
Hello.
Yeah, go ahead.
No, you good. And people got to stop disrespecting this kid, Jermaine Ortiz, man. This kid is good, man. He beat Jamel, and this kid, he was undefeated. This kid is good. And I think, like Jimmy said, I mean, if he fought Tank, like, that'd be a close fight. I think he could beat Kambosos for sure. This kid is and for Loma to take this, after a year layoff, I mean, that's impressive, man. I mean, to come out here and do that. This kid is really talented. People, talking like this kid was a scrub. This dude is big. He's fast, like he's talented. This was not a soft touch at all. And Loma went in there against a bigger guy, and he did what he had to do. So respect to the kid, and great showing for him. He looks like he has a promising future, and respect to Loma too. Because, going up in there, that was not an easy task at all, and he did it.
Real quick, before we move on to another phone call, because they're piling up, what does Devin Haney have to do to win against Lomachenko? What are some of the tips that you would implement in there?
For Devin to beat Loma, he's going to have to be able, like you had kind of mentioned earlier, Loma can struggle with guys with that reach and with that athleticism. So, and he can resort to kind of jumping in sometimes. And so if Devin can counter Loma when he hops in or clinch him like Devin loves to do, then that'll kind of be a key to success. Loma won't ever be able to really land on Devin, like he did with Jermaine. Like Jermaine wasn't able to counter Loma when Loma did get inside. He get popped so quick, it was just like he got stuck in the mud. He wouldn't be able to do anything. But if Devin could clinch better, which he does, and counter Loma when he gets inside, then that would be the key to victory. But I don't think Devin can do that personally. I don't think Devin's that great of a counter puncher. I think his footwork, he can get sloppy with his defense sometimes, and I think he can struggle with stamina. So trying to run away from Lomachenko all night, and deal with the angles and trying to take away the angles and all that, that's going to be a tall task. And once you get tired, that's it. So
interesting point.
What's his caller's name?
B Money.
Caller, what's your name? B Money? Is that what you said?
B Money.
Excellent call. Yeah. Oh, excellent call, bro. Great points, man.
Actually,
good stuff. Just wanted to say
actually
that,
broke down the fight. That's what we like to hear on this show, man. Well, listen, B Money, thank you for your call, man. We do have to move on to another caller, but thank you. Call back next time, right, man?
Yeah, bet, bro. You guys too. Have a good one.
You too, man. Yeah, that's interesting. I guess we'll talk. I guess we will be talking more about that fight if it happens. We'll be breaking it down. But it is an interesting fight for sure, man. One of the ones to look forward to in 2023.
Very astute fan. You know what I mean? He brought good points, man. Talking about just getting mentally exhausted, trying to keep up with those angles and keep, good call. I always love when people call you, there's dudes out there who truly watch and absorb what's happening. That's all I want to say.
Don't forget to hit the like, fellas. Hit the like. Don't forget to hit the like. Spread the BD and gospel. Let's go to 720. 720, you're on the air. 720, what's on your mind?
Hey, guys.
Can you guys hear me?
Yes, we can, man. What's up?
All right, awesome. I just had 2 points. First, to support what B-Money spoke about earlier. That was good. For Devin, what he needs to do to defeat Lomachenko would be, I know Devin likes to hug a lot, so he can actually use that to his advantage. Devin probably has the longer reach, uses jab, obviously counter Lomachenko when he tries to jump in. So those are very valid points from D-Money. One thing I wanted to bring up was the fact that Lomachenko is still Top Rank's baby boy. So you have to realize that Bob Arum loves Lomachenko. Like, they promote this guy more than they promote any of the other superstars. And these are facts. So if Devin Haney thinks he's going to hug his way through 12 rounds or jab his way through 12 rounds and get the decision, he has a big thing coming. Like, it's going to be he's going to have to seriously put in the work to defeat Lomachenko. You get my point? If this thing goes 12 rounds, Lomachenko will probably be in a favorable position to get the decision. So Devin Haney really needs to put on a show, and a convincing show, to actually defeat Lomachenko. Just one point you guys should think about.
Well, it's an interesting point. I'm not sure.
That's what yeah.
It's an interesting point. I'm not sure I agree with that one, but I mean, we'll see what happens if the fight does take place. There's still a little bit of doubt in my mind, just based on some of the things that Devin Haney said, although I don't really put too much stock on words. I put it more on action. So we'll see what happens there, 7-2-0. Anything else you want to say before we move on?
Yeah. One other thing I wanted to say was I'm really enjoying what Top Rank is doing, especially with the upcoming fighters that they have on their stable. I like what they've done with Devin Haney in the past 12 months. Devin Haney has literally gone from being, the guy who everyone was kind of avoiding, to being the unified, undisputed lightweight champion. And, you can see all you want about Top Rank, but they actually have good development programs for their, upcoming stars. They're actually doing a great job. They're not perfect. They're actually doing a great job. I think they're doing a better job than the PBC. The PBC have really been disappointing this year. Hopefully they can get their shit together in 2023. But yeah, that was my second point, and that's it.
All right, well, listen. Thank you for your call, and call back next time, Raman. Take it easy.
Sounds good. Definitely will. Bye.
All right, take it easy, man. Let's go to another phone call here. Let's go to 301. 301, you're on the air. 301, what's on your mind? Oh, jeez, there's a lot of wind there.
Hey, what's up, BDA? What's up, Gonzalo and Jimmy?
What's up, man?
So I noticed, like many did for this Lomachenko fight, that there were kind of signs I really didn't like of telling him to slow down. The speed was a little bit slower, but that wasn't really the main issue. It was just sort of like the confidence that I noticed dip. For one thing, a lot of people talk about his angles, but he doesn't really start to use the angles and the spinning until he gets the guy like close enough, which is more of like a mid-round, later round phenomenon. At least when he moved up to lightweight, when he was fighting guys a similar length to him, he could do that earlier. But what I really liked about Lomachenko, what I saw is, and one feature which is very hard to imitate of his is his active guard. Like, he's always, switching the angle, parrying shots, and he's doing that from distance. Like, he's just swiping them right at the end of the punch. And that really is what I think contributes to a lot of the mental pressure he exerts in the fighter, because he doesn't allow you to really get a read on him. He doesn't allow you to, know where he's at. He doesn't let you gauge the distance, in other words.
Excellent point.
I didn't see it as much in this fight. He wasn't strafing those punches well. In fact, what I didn't like is that he would kind of stand there and bear the brunt of the punch that he would block, which is why I think he had a lot more difficulty this fight and allowed Ortiz to kind of shoe shine on him and let go with more combinations. The other thing I didn't like is his grappling wasn't really what it once was. That could have been a little bit due to the ref breaking up the clinches a little too quickly, which, on a side note, I think we talk about this clinching phenomenon a lot, but I think the refs have kind of weaponized this because they allow a clinch-heavy fighter to initiate a lot of clinches, and then they immediately break up a match. Like Kenny Bayless and Joe Cortez are, I think, infamous for doing this, and that allows the guy who is the sort of faster counterpuncher to kind of hold and break up the rhythm, and it doesn't allow the other guy to work on the inside. But in any case, Lomachenko, he wasn't like doing the hips out, head down thing and spinning out. Like in a Pedraza fight, for instance, whenever Pedraza tried to clinch, Lomachenko was already anticipating the clinch. He would have his shoulder down between him and the midline of the opponent, pushing him off, and then he would be able to resume the action. And that's how he was able to, beat him up so effectively. So I think the physicality plays into it, but I worry about that happening with Haney. So just to kind of reiterate, my issues was not really like the physical degradation. It's more just like what you see in older fighters, in that they hesitate. They're not able to do the things they were once able to do. Like he was able to stand a mid distance a lot more before, and kind of like slot change counter, like pull, like slip counter. I didn't see that as much from Lomachenko. Nor did I see that left hand, the left hand straight that he used to fire. He used to cock his shoulder almost immediately, where it would be like right up against his chin, and it would just come straight. He'd be able to throw it from a clinch. He'd be able to throw it from a slip. He'd be able to throw it so many positions. It wasn't quite as deadly or vicious as it used to be. So I don't know if he's just trying to kind of hold back. Oh, and one more thing. I saw a lot more of this fight was a lot more tactical, where he was managing pace and distance. He was doing a lot of walking off at the end of the rounds, and there were times where he let Ortiz off the hook, especially in the 10th round, where he had him in his usual in and out rhythm. I felt like before he would have finished a guy like that.
Well, there you go, man. Listen, that's an excellent breakdown as well. I think B Money started off a trend here. Hopefully, all the calls are as good as this one. Listen, thank you for your call.
Good call.
Thank you for your call, and we'll get back. Call back on the next one, right, man? Take it easy out there.
Yeah.
All right, man.
All right. Have a good one. Yeah.
You too, man. You too. All right, we got to get to these phone calls here. Let's go to 201. And don't forget to hit, excuse me, don't forget to hit the like, fellas. Hit the like. 201, you're on the air. 201, what's on your mind?
Good afternoon, guys. How you doing?
Doing fantastic. Hope you're doing fantastic as well, man. What's up?
All good, man. I was actually at the fight last night over Madison Square at the Holyfield. I actually saw, the whole card. Just to, add a little bit to the, I got into the arena when one of the first fights started was like a guy from Ohio. I honestly don't remember his name. He fought against Luis LeBron. To me, that was a robbery, since I was there, the guy, he struggled a lot against LeBron. I don't want to make much out of that fight, but, well, let's go.
That's the fight I was talking about, Mr. BDA.
Okay.
Go
ahead, caller. Yeah.
Yes, that guy. But, well, let's go to the Lomachenko and Ortiz. It was a really good fight, and that was actually a really sample size of what would have happened in a Haney fight. But to me, Ortiz is better than anybody who Haney ever fought, in my opinion, because, he actually can fight. He doesn't actually clinch, and he actually big as Haney. And just something that I wanted to see if that fight ever happens, because I already see ways that they're looking out of that fight. I think Haney see that he don't have much of a chance in that fight outside of, trying to clinch his way out, jab and clinch, which to me is not real boxing. And that's a nightmare, because guys that can actually get out of clinches like Shakur and Lomachenko, it can represent actually a really, really bad matchup for Devin Haney. That was all, man. Have a good afternoon, guys.
Hey, good breakdown, man. Good breakdown. Thanks again for your call, and call back next time, all right, man? Good talking to you.
All right, man. Have a good one, man.
All right, so Jimmy, just real quick before we get into the other phone call. So he said that the first fight, there was some shenanigans. You saw that one, then that's the one you were referring to, LeBron.
Yes, that's what I was talking about, the kid LeBron. Yeah. I think, won the fight. He hurt the kid, and he hung on for dear life in the last 2 rounds. Way too much clinching. Should have been warned. The problem is what I don't like about the prospect fights, especially the prospect fights. The refs, a lot of times, like, I just want to continue to do top-ranked fights, so let me make sure to, I don't know, you can see it's obviously swayed towards the, and I think he should have been warned for his point taken away for clinching. It was excessive.
I
agree with them. I think the kid got robbed. The should have been a draw.
My goodness, I gotta watch that, man.
A win, yeah.
Yeah, I gotta watch that.
The Puerto Rican kid, LeBron, he's pretty good too.
Yeah.
That was a closer fight, 50-50 wise.
That's right, man. Listen, shout out to LDBC's Most Wanted for his contribution with the Super Chat. He says, Saludos, BDA and panel. Thank you, Al Heyman, for allowing me the Super Chat. What were your thoughts on William Zepeda's performance? Well, we talked about that earlier, but we were all quite impressed with, impressed in this degree that he really did push Jojo Diaz back, never really stopped punching, was always coming up with some flurries, even though he lost some of the steam in the middle rounds. But, this guy's going to be a problem in the lightweight division. Like I said in the beginning of the show, you want to beat Zepeda, don't stand in front of him unless you get the firepower to try to take him out. So shout out to LDBC's Most Wanted. We can go back to that fight later on after we're done with the phone calls. Shout out to Hyperspaz for his contribution to the Super Chat. He says, is it possible that Loma purposely didn't want to look too good as to not scare off the Haneys? If Loma was too dominant, Devin might drop the belts and run to 1-3. Shout out to Hyperspaz. I don't think that's what happened, man. I don't think guys do that. That's pulling it a little too close or playing it too close to the hip. I don't think fighters really do that. Like, I'm going to look bad. Some people say that about Usyk too, when he fought Chisora. I just think, fights can get complicated, man. But in the end, Lomachenko won. He swept the final rounds. I don't see what the problem is here. But I guess, like I said, people put him into such a high pedestal. They just expect him to run over everybody. I guess that's the ESPN top rank hype that people have been talking about. They got duped by it. Let's go to another phone call here. Let's go to 414. 414, you're on the air. 414, what's on your mind?
Hey, can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you, sir. What's up?
Okay, this is what I want to say. I watched that fight last night. I love that fight. Lomachenko is good. I liked him when he was fighting at a lighter weight when he first came into the pros. I liked him then because he was making people quit even before they got a chance to get started. But I'm gonna tell you one thing that I noticed about the middleweight division. It's a young boy coming up in the middleweight division. He fight out there with Davey Entertainment and with Golden Gloves. That Kid Austin guy. He reminds me of that guy that just fought last night. Yeah, he reminds me of the one that just fought last night, the young guy that just fought and lost last night to Lomachenko. But this is what he does that's better than that he does. This is what Kid Austin do that's better than what he does. Kid Austin switch left to right too. He do that all too. But one thing he do just like Lomachenko do. Come in to you and get right up under you and start giving you those hands.
Interesting.
When he give you them hands, it's all over with. I want to watch Kid Austin. He's 19 years old now. He's out there with Garcia. Watch when he get a chance to get that fight with Garcia. Boy, there you go right there. There you go. Them two boys right there. Boys right there. They're going to be running that middleweight division for the rest of the lifetime for the next 10 or 20 years. Them two right there.
Heard a lot of good things about Kid Austin.
Yeah. You see him fight. You see how? Hey, look at him. He got hands like steel. He got big hands. He got Floyd Mayweather's moves and everything. But one thing he got
very dedicated. I heard.
Jimmy, hold on, because there's a big delay, so you gotta wait till he finishes.
Okay.
Yeah. But listen, caller, we'll certainly watch.
He got them hands. Them hands go a long way. He got speed too. Y'all watch him. He's 19 years old. He got a couple of belts, but watch him though. Everybody get in the ring with him, gonna get the business.
All right, now Jimmy, you said you've watched the guy.
And from what I think, it was Steve who broke it down, who mentioned very good things to say about the kid. Very level-headed, very intelligent kid. He takes it very serious. He's a student of the game, and you're not going to see him out on a Friday night getting wasted. You know what I'm saying? Like he's a, you know what I mean? I'm just being honest. Like I heard he's just all about boxing. He's one of those dudes who just takes it very serious. Like the kid who fought last night too, another one of Bob's prospects. He followed his trainer to England to go when he trained the girls fight. He was training one of the girls anyways, but he followed him to England so he wouldn't miss any of his training days.
Interesting.
You love to hear shit like that. That's a kid who's taking it serious. And anyways, I heard nothing but good things about that kid, Kid Austin. I'm very curious I'm looking forward to see his career.
All right. Well, listen, caller, we'll certainly keep our eye on him. Anything else you want to say before we move on?
And you know another thing he did? He hurted your boy. He was sparring with your boy David. What is Haney? He was sparring with him and he hurt him.
Wait. He was sparring who?
I didn't hear about that, huh? He was sparring with Haney.
Haney?
Go back and look at his track.
Okay.
He was sparring
I thought
with
this
Haney.
guy. I thought this guy. I thought he was. Is this guy? Okay, so is this guy Kid Austin a middleweight or a lightweight?
Looks smaller, but I get his point.
135. Okay. I thought you said middleweight. All right. Well, we'll keep our eye on him there, caller. Thank you for your call, man, and we'll catch you on the next one, right, man? All right. Thank you for calling in, man. Hold on a second. Wait. Okay. Yeah,
but he's only 19, so he's not going to be hanging around 135 too long.
Yeah,
but real good relationship with his father. His father's the one, just for the record, is the one who put one on live with Coach and talked about.
Okay. Yeah.
You see what I'm saying? Yeah. He's the one who talked about the PBC. Al Heyman wanted to sign him for 11 years.
So it's gonna be hard to dupe those guys. It's gonna be hard to dupe those guys. They seem to be aware of what's going on around there. Let's go
He's with Golden Boy. Okay.
I think they said he's with Golden Boy.
But, yes, he is.
I was confusing him with Floyd Schofield because he fought too. He knocked out Baby Rosas, a Barrera fighter. But yeah, I'll pay attention.
Two good Golden Boy signings. I gotta say, man, good for Golden Boy. They got Bam Rodriguez and they got Kid Austin, so that's good, man. They need to get some young blood in there too.
I thought Bam Rodriguez was with. I thought Bam Rodriguez was with somebody else and not Golden Boy. I'm wrong, or
isn't he under the Golden Boy promotion? But he fights with the Zone, or is he strictly signed by the Zone in Matt's room?
Yeah,
I thought he was signed by. Oh, really? I need to find that out. I thought he was with Golden Boy. I could be wrong.
Well, listen, we've got.
I know for a fact that Top Rank passed up on him, though. Big mistake there.
We got a phone call here. We got 843 on the line. 843, are you there?
Yeah, can you hear me?
Yeah, we can hear you. 843. What's up?
Hey, so we're calling. Well, first, my name is Sort of Conditioning. You probably see me sometime. So I was calling about the undercard for Lomachenko fight. I thought it was pretty good. I know you guys were talking about Jake Paul and all that stuff. I mean, honestly, as a boxing fan, I really don't care about him, so I was more interested in the undercard. That's why I prefer looking at these guys, because sometimes you'll see good fights. And I know you guys talk about a lot of the back foot bitching and not really fighting and clinching and the state of boxing. And I think Troy Isley and Quincy Lavalis, I think that's his last name, they performed pretty good. I think if they had a performance of the night bonus, they would have got it. I mean, two black fighters, pretty good. I mean, they went 12 rounds, so I think in those 8 rounds they fought. I mean, it was great. And then Troy Isley, sharp fighter. Every time Quincy got close, he barely clinched. The only time he clinched is whenever Quincy ducked his head underneath his crotch. So, and I found that acceptable, because you can't really get there. But other than that, whenever Quincy was trying to get in, although he was the taller fighter, he just didn't know how to get in. He got caught, but he kept fighting. So overall, I think that was a good fight, undercard-wise. Duke Reagan, I think you guys talk about it right now. He started good, but then obviously the clinching got too overwhelming. And I saw Luis LeBron winning that fight. If he would have got in and not get clinched, I think he would have finished him for sure.
There you go, man.
And then Nico Ali, I think he did pretty good. Overall, he improved. The only thing I saw that I didn't like is he kept getting caught with that right hand. And the other fighter, I mean, I sparred before. He wasn't bad, but he wasn't like really that good either. So I just, maybe he doesn't know how to get in without getting caught with that right hand, but he wasn't ducking to the right while throwing it. He wasn't trying to do the overhand either. He had a good left hook, but he didn't try to work with it too much. And, yeah, I mean, he won, but I think he could have done better overall. But he's definitely trying. I know what Jamie was talking about, that he brings his father's name too much. I agree with it, but, I mean, you got to give him, like, he definitely goes there and fight. So, Richard Torres, he did pretty good. The ref there, I wish he would have ref for the main event, because he actually took a point for clinching. The guy was clinching so bad that he took a point. And I was like, here it is, the state of boxing. We need more refs that do this like more often, because it was getting bad. I mean, the guy would never just engage. He was just clinch right away. So overall, yeah, these are the fights that really stuck out to me. And then I don't know if you guys watched the Ramirez, the co-main. I almost fell asleep. I mean, he was a pretty good puncher, Cuban, and he even promoted that he's different. He's a different Cuban fighter. He doesn't just go by points. I mean, but man, I mean, it took him, I don't know how long, but I mean, I was falling asleep. I thought I wasn't going to make it to Lomachenko, because he just didn't do anything. You know, just waited for a counter. He finished the guy, but I mean, you could have say that he didn't really finish and the ref got in the way. But I think the ref just got in the way because he was getting bored. He was like, okay, this is done. Like, let's get out of here. So I don't know if you guys want to comment on that. I ramble too much.
Well, sure. Listen, we're going to move on to another phone call, though, but I'll ask the panel about that. And thank you for your call, right, man? Call back next time.
Yeah, no problem. Yep.
All right.
Yep,
take it easy, man. What do you guys think about that? Yeah, these.
Same experience, PD. I was sleepy already because I watched all the fights like I usually do, but like today I was really like tired, and so I had to go wet my face when that Robisa Ramirez guy was fighting. So it's true, yeah, he's like a traditional Cuban fighter, doesn't throw a lot of punches, and he got power. He caught this dude in the ninth round, but up to that, it was kind of like whatever.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I agree. That fight was one of the more lame ones on the card. I was impressed with what he said. It was Duke Raygun lost, I believe, to Louis LeBron out of Puerto Rico, but it was the Troy Easley, the middleweight against Quincy Lavares. The kid Lavares was a tough dude. Unanimous decision, middleweight. That kid's I liked him because one thing I liked about that kid Troy was I liked he brought his hands back. He's the kid I was talking about who followed his trainer to England so he can continue to train it. But very schooled fighter. Couple of things though, you can tell nobody's getting on him. He's allowed to do it too much in his training and his sparring, and they got to stop because it's second nature to him. He holds his hands out, literally puts his hands on people's foreheads. And most good refs going to jump on that right away. You can't sight somebody like that. And he pushes off big time with his shoulder and elbows. But he was doing it, wasn't not to like really be a dick about. Like you can tell it's something he does so like second nature. So he's doing it all the time in sparring. I guarantee you he does. So that's on his trainer. They got to stop it because the referee's going to really get on him because he was. If he wasn't a top rank fighter, he probably had points taken away. And I'm not trying to take away from his performance because I liked everything else the kid did. Mm-hmm. It really good. Someone to look out for, Troy Easley. Abdullah Mason, he won. And the kid, Havin Brady, the first one, he's the kid who kind of got exposed a little. He was throwing everything one shot at the same speed the first fight. He won his fight against a Mexican kid, but that Mexican kid was tough and really made him work for it. But that's my talk on the whole card. I'm done.
Yeah, I think the Troy Isley guy, he wanted to get the knockout because the other guy you mentioned for the B-side fighter, he fought that Puerto Rican that you're always talking about, the contender. the middleweight. I forget his name. Not Berlanga, but the other one.
Javier.
What's that prospect, the Puerto Rican dude that's getting like all the hype right now? He was.
Oh, you think Zayas? Are you talking about Xander Zayas?
Zayas. The opponent that Isley fought, Zayas couldn't knock him out. So Isley wanted to get that feather on his cap. So he tried, but he couldn't either. So that means that the B fighter, the opponent's pretty good. I forget his name. The guy you were talking about.
Man. Interesting. It's always good to hear about the young guys coming up because there's so much potential and so much speculation about the future. It's always good. We need a new crop of fighters coming up, so we'll definitely keep our eyes on.
And Bob tested these guys, like I said, like to Gonzalo's point. That kid he fought, that Xander beat him but couldn't stop him. This kid was a tough kid. So all those guys last night, none of them had like super easy touches by no stretch of imagination. Maybe Nico Ali, but the rest of his guys, his real top prospects, I thought he moves them along correctly. It's like, because Bob, again, at the end of the day, it's probably money, but it's like, okay, you're 9 or 10 fights into this. I'm supporting you. Let's see really what you got. You want your fighter to take some shots. You want some pressure on him because it tells you whether you can handle it physically and mentally. So it's important for Bob to do that. And I think that's a problem with the PBC, not to hop on the PBC, but even when they were bringing their kids along, like the Korean kid, Lee, I mean, they were feeding him no-hoper after no-hoper. He was never getting any resistance, and look what happened when he finally fought a kid last time. He got put on his ass because he developed bad habits. And that's what you get when you fight soft competition.
I mean, listen, we'll see what happens with these prospects. The future looks bright, man. We need some new blood in here. Hey, don't forget to hit the like. And while you guys are here and hitting the like and subscribing and spreading the BD gospel, don't forget, Tuesday, we've got the Japanese card. We've got Junto Nakatani taking on Francisco Rodriguez. That's going to be a good fight. You've got Kuroguchi taking on Kenshiro. That's going to be another good fight as well. That's the main event. And then there's the other one. I forget the name. Hold on, let me check them out. That's where I get confused with these two guys. But it's a triple header. Jonathan Gonzalez versus, I'm not even going to try to say the Japanese name, Iwata, for Gonzalez's WBO junior flyweight title. John Gonzalez is more of a slickster, but he does try to put some bang on his shots. And Iwata, well, he's a mostly an aggressive fighter himself. So you got it's a triple header. All of those on paper should be good. We're going to be going live on Tuesday after that fight. So it's probably going to be about 10 in the morning maybe, or 11 when we finally go live. Because I think the main event's over there.
Is the main event, is it a Harry Carey match? Like the loser has to open his belly up right in the middle of the
come on.
ring?
See, in the beginning, I thought you were mispronouncing the guy's name. Then I heard no. All right, Kiri. You're too much, Jimmy. What's the matter with you, man? It's because it's Halloween. I will allow it.
Jonathan Gonzalez is pretty good too, BD. El Titan. He fought on Cajas about a year and a half ago. He's also pretty good. The guy you mentioned.
Who did you say,
Jonathan? Too. On Cajas, he was like, it was a pretty good, I'm not going to say it's fight of the year, but it was a real good fight. Jonathan Gonzalez, you said? El Titan Gonzalez, yeah, he's pretty good. The one you mentioned.
And
he can crack too.
Bam Rodriguez said, yeah, exactly. And Bam Rodriguez said he's dropping back to 112. So stay tuned for that. You never know. He could be in the vicinity of those fights. We still got some.
He's going back to 112,
No, yeah, it kind of looks like he's regressing, but I get it because I mentioned it a long time ago. With him, remember what Steve Kim said? That this guy could jump up weights and capture multiple titles in different divisions. Mm-hmm. So I think he's just taking the step back because he can. And that's just another notch on your belt that when it's all said and done, you could say I was a 3, 4, 5 division world champion.
Right.
And another thing, and can I add to that? Doesn't his brother also campaign at 115?
I think so.
Yeah, he should fight his brother, man.
So I think that's like, how do you really go for all the belts or like try to become a champion when he looks, he loves his older brother Joshua right now. Franco is his brother's name. I guess the same mother, different fathers. But they're very close, and he obviously wants him to win. He looks up to him, and he's always paying him compliments. So he probably doesn't want to even put that. Just you do 115. I think at 112 he's going to be unstoppable at that weight. But
well, listen, we got to get back to the phone. We'll keep talking a little bit more about that, especially on Tuesday, because that's a division there. Nakatani could fade him, but we'll talk about that. We'll talk about that on that day. Who's next here? I think, okay, 650. You're on the air. 650. What's on your mind?
So Ortiz was very impressive. I think Ortiz is the type of opponent guys like Haney and PBC avoid and stay away from.
Oh.
I think Ortiz beats Haney, and I'm not crazy to think that. Okay, he has size. Yeah, he seems to. Yeah, I think he would do well against Haney. I think he has a chance to beat Haney. Yeah, and if you go to Haney's record and Gervonta Davis's record, try to find a guy as as young, speed, and size as Jermaine Ortiz, and that's Loma for you. Loma never ducks anyone, even when they say it's a tune-up. It's not a tune-up. Mm-hmm. Yeah, and I think that's why it was a close fight, is because Ortiz brought it, and Loma looked great. I thought Loma showed. I like Loma that he swept the final rounds. Like, he had a really strong, tough. I think that was a tougher fight than the Haney fight. If Haney were to fight Loma, I think that was a tougher fight for Loma. And personally, I think Haney's going to duck, bro. I think Haney keeps bringing up the fact that Loma never gave him a shot. He always brings that up, and it's like a layup for his fans when Haney ducks him, so they can come up with an excuse. And if that happens, Bob needs to feed him to Ramirez and Taylor for punishment, because I think they walk through Haney at 140.
Interesting. Whoa, interesting. All right, man. But by the way, you mentioned the Ortiz versus Haney, a hypothetical matchup. Do you see Haney's jab being the difference in that fight if those two guys ever rumbled?
No, I think Ortiz is skilled enough to clear the jab and fucking beat up Haney.
Interesting.
Personally.
Interesting. Yeah.
I mean, look at Haney has fought a bunch of guys over their hill, and a one-time Kambosos who we all believe is a fraud. You know, we really do. Come on,
well,
Kambosos isn't world class. He's not world class, dude. He's not.
I mean, yeah, some people like to use words and they like to say he whooped Teofimo Lopez, but I mean, look at both guys' face after the fight. It's not like Kambosos breezed through it. He almost got stopped in that one. So you may have a point. I don't like calling people bums. I don't like calling them, anybody a bum. I think at this level, guys like Haney, Loma, Shakur Stevenson, Zepeda, all those guys, I don't think it's fair to call them bums. But I get what you're saying, caller. I get what you're saying. And we'll see what happens. We'll see if the fight happens. Because like you said, there seems to be some preemptive striking going on from the Haneys. Well, listen, we got to move on to another phone call. We're almost running out of time here. But call back next time, right, man? Oh, hold on. Anything else you want to say, though?
I only said Kambosos is a bum because the way Haney acts. He acts like he won. He's the one that did all the work, and he's the king emperor now. And he beat one guy who also just beat one guy. You know? So, come on, dude. You beat Kambosos. That's it.
There you go. All right, well, listen, thank you for your call. 650. Call back next time, all right, man? Take it easy.
See you, BDS.
Don't forget to hit the like, fellas. Hit the like. Let's go to another phone call here. Let's go to 415. 415, you're on the air. 415, what's on your mind?
Boom Boom Guy, LDBC. Oh, man. All right. What's happening? Loma, come on, man. Loma, he needs to fight at least 4 or 5 rounds in the locker room just to prepare for the fight. He sucks. He sucks the first half of the fight. But I thought it was going to be a repeat of the Tio fight. Oh, he's preserving his shoulder. That's why he sucked the first half of the fight versus Tio. He sucked versus the first half of the round versus this fight. Ortiz was not
he won a unanimous decision.
Bum. Look, I'll get to that in a minute. Ortiz was not a bum. Like, this guy was a young champion. He was bigger. If you see the size difference in the ring, that's similar to what it's going to be like. Actually, it's going to be worse against Haney. Haney's going to be even bigger than Ortiz. And I think what messed up Loma in the beginning, while he was downloading on dial-up, yeah, he needs faster internet speeds to download because he gets way too far behind.
Hey, Boomo's got the punts today, man.
Hey, this fight could have been a draw. Ortiz fell off. He couldn't keep up the
You're
pace.
out of your fucking
Hold on,
mind.
Jimmy.
dude.
Let
You're
us
out of
finish.
your
Jimmy,
mind.
oh my God. Listen, we got to move on because we're
Let me
almost
finish,
out of
Jimmy.
time here with the phone calls here. But go ahead, Boom Boom, because we got to move on. Go ahead, man.
Okay, Ortiz couldn't keep up the pace. To beat a champion, a house fighter, the golden boy, you have to win the championship rounds. You can't just slightly edge the champion. And I think Ortiz is the next Pitbull Cruz. Loma just created a superstar. Loma put him on the map because he literally almost beat the Ring Magazine pound for pound. I think he was, number 5? And this is a guy who doesn't even go the distance in most fights. If he had experience going the distance, it would have been a different outcome. It was not unanimous decision. I think Loma slightly edged it, though. But that's it. Boom, boom, out.
Hey, by the way, somebody in the chat said, Sergeant ZUSMC says, haha, I know where Boom Boom Guy got that line. Someone said that in another site. They're accusing you of plagiarism, Boom Boom.
Well, I just made that up right now. Actually, I said that when I was watching the fight.
All right. Well,
That's
listen,
the
good
first
talk.
half of the fight.
All right, listen, good talking to you. We'll catch you on the next one, right, man?
All right, I thought I was muted the whole time I was talking. I didn't even know I was unmuted, dude. Sorry about that. Sometimes I thought, but listen, I got to say, he wasn't unknown. This wasn't like a Pitbull Cruz. He just beat Jamel
Herring
in a one-sided fashion. Jamel Herring, yeah. I mean, Ortiz is a highly touted kid. It was just Lomachenko, I think, wanted to take him on because I believe the size is exactly the same. I think they're the exact same height. If Ortiz, Ortiz might be a little taller than Haney. I also heard that kid, just a side note, is an excellent baseball player.
Interesting.
Jermaine Ortiz. Side note. Yep, just wanted to put it out there.
Well, he's Puerto Rican.
Dominican too, so.
Dominican, okay, there you
Half
go.
and half.
Hey, listen, fellas.
Half Puerto Rican, half Dominican, yep.
Yeah, but Jimmy, I know you wanted to chime in on that when he said that that fight should have been a split decision or a draw or something. I mean, I'll tell you what, Jimmy, I saw Loma against Lopez. He wasn't throwing anything. Round 1, 3, 4, 5, he wasn't doing anything. In the second round, he did hit him with a couple left hands, but in those other rounds, he didn't do anything. In this one, he was always catching Ortiz with clean shots in the early rounds. Maybe he didn't look as good as he did in the later rounds. Because again, he is a slow starter. Even Ortiz said that. But it certainly wasn't like the Lopez fight.
Yeah, in the first, sorry, go Gonzalo.
No, just go. We'll just talk at the same time. Go ahead.
I was going to say, I had, in the first 4 rounds, I had a 3 to Ortiz, 3-1. I gave Ortiz 3 out of the first 4 rounds. Then after that, he started pulling away, which he always does, though. He gets your rhythm, gets your timing, and he knows his conditioning. He's not questioning his conditioning. He knows exactly how much he can put out, how much his body can take. So he puts himself, and he just knows those extra 12 rounds. Most guys not going to hang with them. And especially to what that other caller said, he was mimicking a lot of, because of familiarity, all those rounds sparring. He knew Lomachenko's tells, knew when to turn with them. Haney's never done that. Haney's got no, you know what I'm saying? Without a doubt, I think Haney is, I'm not going to say it'd be an easy fight, but it's not going to be any harder than Jermaine Ortiz. Jermaine Ortiz hits harder, is as big, if not bigger. Got quick hands, young dude, 24 years old. You watch. I think this kid Jermaine Ortiz is going to be all right. All right, Gonzalo, what's that?
Yeah, I was aware that you gave him the first 3 rounds. I think I did also, and I believe it was the beginning of the 4th. This is how Loma came out. As soon as he came out, he rushed Ortiz and he popped him in the mouth. That was like the first punch he threw, and he pushed him back. That was, and they mentioned that was the eye-catching shot. To BDA's point, the eye-catching shots and the harder shots, it's a trip. You know what's a trip about Lomachenko? He's not necessarily a hard puncher, but the way he spins into his shots, you all of a sudden he can hurt his opponent, and you're like, oh man, he landed that you would never think, but actually he's kind of a puncher, man. If you think about it. Yeah. Out of nowhere, he'll throw a punch where he catches the other dude and the other guy's not looking, and he'll fucking hurt you.
But you know what, Gonzalo? That's a good
punch is excellent.
You know what, Gonzalo? That's a good point about him being a power puncher, underrated power puncher. I don't understand though how, because people based on last night's fights, they seem to get people are saying that they have the perception that Loma should have lost that fight, and they're saying Haney whoops him. I think people are forgetting the Jojo Diaz fight. I mean, here we have Lomachenko fighting a younger, bigger guy with quick hands. Haney struggled against a smaller, slower, shorter fatter guy. And he's struggling against that guy. So if you think it's going to be easy against Lomachenko, because Lomachenko had to put in work against a bigger guy, not a smaller, shorter, fatter guy, and slower, I think people are getting a little bit mixed up here. But listen, like I said, we'll talk more about that fight if it does come into fruition. Hopefully it does. Keep your fingers crossed for that one. All right, fellas, that should be a good one in 2023. Hey, fellas, I got to go wee-wee again real quick, but we're almost done here. But I want to give you or leave you with this subject here. I want to leave you with this subject. You guys break it down. Oscar Valdez is probably going to be fighting Emmanuel Navarrete next. That's something that Top Rank is planning on. Guys, how do you see that fight going?
I think Navarrete beats him to a pulp. You know, remember Valdez used to swell up like when he fought that one Scottish kid. Back in the day, he got his nose broken, and he was in all these wars like a couple years back, and he was getting marked up, and we even like a lot of people would say he was kind of like Arturo Gatti. So Navarrete, look what he's done to some of his opponents. He's beat them to a pulp. I think he puts a beat down on Valdez and probably retires him, to be honest.
Yeah. I'd be surprised the fight goes through. I think if there's any resistance, it's going to be on Valdez's side. I agree 100% with you. I think Navarrete puts it on him, really puts it on him to the point. If he does fight him, it could be the swan song.
Because this 135, okay, Valdez is not that big, and he did it one time to Dog Bowl. He did it again, and his father threw in the towel. And the fights that he took after that, Navarrete, we saw a pattern. As the opponent starts getting more tired, he starts dialing it in, and he's awkward where he'll catch you from afar, from these awkward angles, and he starts dialing it in. He starts landing with consistency, and he doesn't let go. He's got good stamina. And it's not going to be like a one-shot thing. But Valdez is also aggressive, so they're going to collide in the ring. Nobody's going to be running away from anybody. So that's going to play into... I'm not saying that Valdez won't have his moments, but Navarrete, he proves to be the tough fighter that he has shown to be. I don't think all of a sudden he's going to become chinny and he's not going to want to engage. Yeah, he's going to want to engage, and he's going to take whatever Valdez brings. But then you got to think of what Navarrete is going to do. String his shots together and be consistent and start beating this dude to a pulp. And that dude marks up pretty bad. Valdez. He's had a broken jaw, busted up nose, cuts.
Yo, what's up?
I agree 100%.
I am back. I couldn't hear what you guys were saying, though, unfortunately.
How was your wee-wee?
It was fantastic, man. Refreshing, to say the least. Speaking of that, Rafael Garza in the chat. Shout out to Rafael Garza for extending his BDA membership program. He says, Mr. BDA, just a friendly reminder. If you shake it more than twice, you're playing with it. Believe me, I know all about that, man. Don't worry about that. I know. I'm all business when I go to the bathroom. I've got a podcast to continue hosting here. So, but I listen. Jimmy and Gonzalo, they can hold it down. No problem. So shout out to Rafael Garza for his contribution. Kenshiro wants to do the StreamYard. Since we're almost done, I guess we can open it. But actually, before that, we got a caller here. So I don't want StreamYard to fuck it up. 929, you're on the air. 929, what's up?
Yo, you guys hear me?
Yes, 929, what's up?
Yeah, BDA, first off, I want to say good job to you and Jimmy for that video of debunking the narrative that Loma ducked Haney.
Thank you.
I can't really fathom how much stupidity has seeped into the boxing community in the United States. Yo, I've been watching fights for like 25 years, for over 25 years, man. And the moment I see a foreigner that I see has talent, that has generational, talent, can really fucking excite the fans, even though he's not from here, is something that these fans over here cannot take for some reason. All bullshit aside, the fight has to happen next. This is for bragging rights. I don't want to hear excuses from either camp. I don't want to hear that he's not ready, this and that. No, let's see the fight. Let's fucking put the bullshit aside. Let's see what happens, and whoever wins gets to have bragging rights. That's all. Until then, people need to shut the fuck up. That's all.
Oh, listen, Virtuoso, you've got a point. Very aggressive, though, I must say. I think it is finally irked you.
No, I'll talk about the fight, though. I'll say this, though. I wanted to talk about yesterday's fight, right? So, Jermaine Ortiz, who fought Jamel Haney, who really beat him up, and was really on his way to becoming something in the lightweight division, took a really big step-up fight against a guy that knows him because they sparred before. And I got to say, I was fairly impressed with what he did, man. He's not a pushover, man. He's going to be something. And you know what? To all the haters, listen, man. Jermaine Ortiz is going to be a champion way before fucking Robert Helenius will ever be a fucking held the title. They'll give him a fucking Burger King belt.
Oh, Burger King belt swearing. I gotta tell you, you're very spicy today.
man.
You're spicy. It's a Sunday show. Come on now.
Yeah. I'm spicy today, man. But anyway, I just want to give the kid credit. But it's like this, man. When you and I've heard Jimmy say this before, like when you throw punches and don't hit the target, you do expend a lot of energy. And I think that's what costed Ortiz those rounds in the middle. That's when he started to lose shape. That's when he started to lose, focus, because he was mostly a back foot fighter, throughout the matchup, past like the fourth round. I saw him on the front foot. He was good. But eventually you're going to have to resort to clinching if you cannot contain the pressure from the outside. And that's what I look forward in Haney in doing so, is trying to control the action from the outside, because if he gets inside, it's going to be a problem, and eventually he's going to resort to clinching. So what I'm hopefully they'll suggest like a referee that could clean that up and make it more of a competitive fight instead of just a drag out fight. It's basically a slow pace, very frustrating, just tedious fucking process to watch two fighters box on the inside. So also another suggestion before I go. I think Haney needs another voice in that training camp. One that can enable him how to fight on the inside. I could probably recommend James Toney, but since he's incoherent,
come on,
it's probably not going to happen.
Jeez, Louis.
But hey, listen, it's important that you learn from somebody. You pick up some tools from other fighters, and not just your dad.
That's a good point. That's a good point.
Your father being a trainer isn't the end all be all.
All right.
I look forward to the fight. May the best man win.
Absolutely. Hopefully it happens. Well, listen, Virtuoso, thank you for your call. Call back next time, all right, man? Take it easy out there.
No problem. Anytime.
YouTube land.
Yeah. Hey, BDA, the irony, the freaking David Haney is like real big, and he was wearing that skeleton sweater,
Yeah, they
it looked like he was skinny or what? Did he have problems making weight, or to like confuse Lomachenko? Like, oh, he's actually skinny. Because when they say you wear black, it makes you look thinner. Because he's wearing a black sweater made out of fucking bones for a design.
That's what I was gonna say. Yeah, fat people always say, if you wanna look less fat, wear black. Wear things with straight lines, horizontal lines. No, excuse me, vertical lines. Like spike your hair. Do like a whole bunch of tricks they do to try to appear less fat. So that's a good catch, Gonzalo. That's a fucking good catch, man. Shout out to Rafael Garza for his contribution, by the way, with the super chat. He says, "Do you think the Lomachenko versus Haney fight will be a pay-per-view fight?" Oh. First of all, shout out to Rafael Garza. Very interesting question. Yeah, would that have to be pay-per-view, or could that be regular ESPN? I don't know, man. It's not a big money fight.
Pedraza, Teofimo's a pay-per-view fighter from now on. I get the feeling that's just the way that they're going to do it with him.
No, but he's talking about Devin Haney versus...
The fact that they put him on in the little room in MSMG, at the God, which... That's another thing. Why do they keep putting him in a little room? He could sell more tickets, but I don't think he wanted to spend the money, but whatever. I don't think it should be a pay-per-view. They're on ESPN. I don't think ESPN would want it a pay-per-view. They wanted, They pay a lot of money. They don't want to isolate potential fans too. So because it's on ESPN, I think it should not be a pay-per-view. If it is a pay-per-view, I'd be pissed off.
Yeah, listen, Loma's not a big draw. They try to make him out to be a mainstream star. He's not that big a star. I mean, if he fights Linares and guys like that, then they can put him in a bigger venue. And Haney, I mean, this guy, no, very few casuals know who he is. So, pay-per-view, this one, I don't know, man. Maybe if they have to pay them a lot, they'd have to do a pay-per-view. But even then, I don't see it doing fantastic numbers. Hey, listen, I didn't hear Gonzalo's your takes on the Navarrete Valdez fight, but Navarrete, he's very wide with his shots too. So I don't know. Isn't there a possibility Valdez could catch him in between those shots, or do you think he's just too awkward for Valdez?
He's too awkward, and I mentioned to you one time, BD, about Manny Pacquiao. But Manny Pacquiao is a different fighter. He's in and out. What I mentioned about Navarrete being similar in the regard that he's in and out and he strings long shots together. In and out, strong shots together, and it's a little bit of the Joyce effect. I mean, I'm jumping divisions, like that's like a wide comparison. But what I'm saying is, when you're starting to get tired, he starts dialing it in, and he only gets stronger as the fight goes along. Navarrete, and we remember a few years back, Valdez gets lumped up. I think he gets cut up easy. He had a broken jaw against Scott Quigg. I think that was a broken jaw, but he's also had a busted nose in other fights. He's an exciting fighter. A lot of people compared him to like a little Mexican Arturo Gatti. And the way we see Navarrete fight is, he starts dialing it in, and he starts putting a beating on these guys like the fights that will go on for many rounds. And the more the round starts going by, the more the opponents get beat up to the point that the quarters are throwing in the towels. So I think, like, for example, Valdez is not going to run away. He's going to come to fight. That's what characterizes him. And Navarrete as well, in and out, aggressive from the outside, pressuring you like that in that sense. So, I mean, it's not like Navarrete is going to become Cheney or less aggressive all of a sudden. Same thing could be said about Valdez. And I think he retires him, to be honest.
Whoa. Well, I will say this. When Shakur Stevenson fought Joed Gonzalez, he walked away clean, but so did Joed Gonzalez. When Navarrete fought Joed Gonzalez, he got hit more. But then you look at Gonzalez's face afterwards. That's a point that Pete made, I remember. And I said, you know what? You're right. I mean, who would you rather be? You want to be the guy that walks away with the face clean, but you couldn't do that. You couldn't mark up the other guy's face or put a beating on him or at least hurt him? Or you want to be the guy that went into the trenches and put a beating on the other guy and made him look like a bag of hamburger? I don't know. But you're right, man. Fucking Navarrete, he puts a beating on guys. We'll see what happens with Valdez. It should be an exciting fight between two punchers.
Now, Navarrete's not fighting enough. That's going to eventually hurt his style. He needs to be more active. I don't know why he left Top Rank. He's left it. I don't think Bob's been really. I think he can fight on Bob's network, obviously, but Bob's obviously not going to push things his way to try to help him out, I would imagine, because he's not under Top Rank anymore. He wanted to go solo. So,
all right, but hold on. We got one more call here. So we were done here. We're almost done here. 562, you're on the air. 562, what's on your mind?
Hey, what's up, BDA? Good show as usual. I just want to talk about Lomachenko, and people are already trashing him. But if you remember, Manny Pacquiao got flattened and came back. He struggled against Jeff Horn, came back. Shane Mosley lost to Vernon Forrest, came back and had good wins. So, these guys, the fanboys want to already trash Loma and say that it's not a good fight anymore, but it's still a probably 3-1 fight, if not a 2-1 fight. So I don't understand it's not a good fight anymore.
Well, I don't understand either because Loma didn't lose either. That's the thing. Loma didn't lose. He won. So I don't understand where this is all coming from. Like I said, hey, listen, he went 12 rounds against a bigger, younger guy who's got quick hands, quick feet. Haney struggled with a shorter, fatter, slower guy in Jojo Diaz who can't crack. I think to me, this fight is still, I don't understand why they're weighing one guy against the other so much that way. Or they're actually weighing.
They don't want to fight.
Yeah, and exactly, it's what I said from the beginning. I really believe that Haney can't take the fight because he can't lose to Lomachenko. He can lose to anybody else but Lomachenko. If he loses to Lomachenko, his career is over.
Yeah. Yeah, he loses to White Jesus.
What is the fan base going to do then? Huh?
Yeah. No, yeah, I said you're right. You're right, man.
Yeah,
You're right.
I just never seen a fighter this. Yeah, I just never seen a fighter this accomplished, disrespected like Lomachenko. Like I'm not a fan of Haney, but I don't disrespect him. It just seems strange that there's just so many people that want to discredit and disrespect a fighter like Lomachenko. I could imagine if they had. These are not boxing fans. That's why I don't take them seriously. But had they watched Manny Pacquiao against Jeff Horn, we'd have never seen Manny Pacquiao again.
Exactly, man. Well, listen, I don't know what it is with those guys. I don't pay too much attention. Although the only reason why we do need them around is for the entertainment purposes when we got the open panels or phone calls. So it is what it is, man. But listen, Let me
just say one thing,
Absolutely.
BDA.
Yes.
Let me just say one thing. I just want to tell these supposed boxing fans that none of these fights are washes. Loma, Stevenson, Haney. Nobody's going to watch anybody. They're all highly competitive matches, and you as a boxing fan should be begging for these matches. Now, the last thing Haney said was, if it makes sense. See, that's the shit I'm talking about, man. This is where they're coming from. But, use your own mind.
Exactly.
Absolutely, man. Absolutely. All right, well, listen, we're running out of time here, but thank you for your call. Call back next time, right, man?
Thank you. Okay.
Thank you, man. Have a good one. All right, we've got Official here jumping on the stream. You're Official, are you there?
Hey, hello, Mr. BDA, Gonzalo, Jimmy. Hello. Hope you hear me.
Well, I can hear you, man. What's up, man? Thank you for being on.
Thank you.
Official, what's up, buddy?
Hey, hello, Jimmy. Just a few quick words about, Zepeda's fight as well as Lomachenko. Now, Zepeda, since I saw him the first time fighting in Mexico, he's a beast, like you guys are saying, that work rate is great, etc. But I do think that it was much more about stylistic matchup because Jojo Diaz, he's a blown up 135-pounder, and his work rate is not that great. So I knew that Zepeda would be looking good against Jojo. But if you take a look at his previous fight that you mentioned against Alvarado, a counter puncher who can punch with him, has a good chin and can constantly work and not do like Jojo, who would just cover up and fight in spurts. That's the type of guy that would trouble Zepeda. But other than that, very, very, like Jimmy said, also very enjoyable to watch. It's lovely to see a guy that's there to fight, that has that attractive style, high work rate. That's nice. But I'm seeing flows like he's very easy to get hit, but I don't want to go in any more details. But the Loma fight, man, to be honest with you, I'm kind of very displeased with what I saw from Loma. I mean, it's understandable. Let's say, the ring rust probably has something to do with it. And as Lomachenko's fan, I hope it's the case, but I'm kind of worried that it's more than that, because he's almost 35 years old. And already after, you can go on Discord, your Discord, when we were commenting the fight, after just the first round, the initial round, I told everybody that I'm seeing Lomachenko slow down. Already in the first round, I saw it. He was slower. Now, credit to Jermaine Ortiz. He employed a very good game plan, because he did what Haney was doing in spurts against Loma, as well as Teofimo Lopez, meaning that Loma, he's always looking to feint you out, to make you open up with one punch so you can step out and step back in and use that opening. But he was timing Loma. Every time Loma would try to jump within his arm reach, he would not throw a single punch, but flurry of punches. And that was almost always forcing Loma to back out, because there was no openings for him to step right back in and use the opening. So it gave him hell. And I mean, very, very, very exciting fight, interesting, but I'm afraid that it's more than Loma just being rusty. I think that his age is probably showing up, and I hope I'm wrong about it.
Well, listen, that's a good breakdown right there. But I mean, if you're rooting for Lomachenko, I wouldn't be too worried. I mean, this is a guy, Haney, who needed 2 rounds of clinching to get out of the Linares fight, and that's an old Linares. And then Jojo Diaz, I mean, come on, slower, shorter, fatter, older guy. I mean, if people want to give shit for Lomachenko for going the distance, that's what they're harping on. Oh, he went the distance, he couldn't stop him, couldn't stun him. It's a bigger, younger, faster guy. I mean, I'd rather have a competitive fight against that guy than against a shorter, fatter, slower guy that shouldn't even be in the division in the first place. But listen, official, great breakdown. We do have to move on to Kenshiro here because we're running out of time. But thank you for being on. Always appreciate your input, man, and we'll catch you in the next one.
Thank you too. Peace, everybody.
Thank you. Peace, man. Take it easy.
Take it easy. The only thing that Jojo got going for him, like Don Chingazo said, he's got a pumpkin head, like the one you had on the TV. He probably dressed like a jack-o'-lantern tonight for Halloween. No, fucking huge ass. Hey, he said the real key things. This official man.
I mean, that kid Jermaine Ortiz, his nickname is the Technician for a reason. The kid's a talented fighter. And if anybody's seen him fight prior to last night's fight, we said he was. That's why, he was a talented kid. And I thought it was going to be a good test. And he is Haney's height. They're both 5'8". Haney has ring rust. 2-inch. Yeah, I would say ring rust. I don't think it was his age as much as his ring rust. But again, he's fighting a kid 10 years younger than him who's bigger, longer reach, and got 4 inches on him. Oh, no, he's got 3 inches on him. And probably they walk around probably 25 pounds heavier than him. It's a much bigger dude. And he goes the distance and he wins. And it's just crazy. The thing is, how does a victory age? Like, that's what's important. You watch how this victory ages. Watch how good this victory ages, because Jermaine's going to go on to do big things, I think.
That's true, but he was coming out the war real quick. And he mentioned it in the post-fight. He needs to prepare. He needs a longer training camp, because the thing with him, he probably need a little TW40 in his joints, and because he's getting older, to stay limber. But the mental exercises, when he like puts those cards out and his dad makes him touch this number, then go with that one, and kind of like this little brain exercises. That's going to get him pulling the trigger quick when it comes to reaction time. And he'll get that part down because that's how he trains. He just needs longer time to do that, in my opinion. That's all.
All right, man. Well, listen, let's go to Kenshiro here on the StreamYard. Kenshiro, you there?
Yeah, can you guys hear me?
Yes, indeed, man. What's up?
No, I mean, look. Hey, how you doing, Jimmy, man? Yeah, I mean, listen. Loma's been out for nearly, 300 odd days. Would I preferred him to get a knockout possibly later on? But listen, going 12 rounds, you're still getting 12 rounds in you after 300 days. The guy, I mean, I'm not gonna lie, I didn't know much about him, but he looked, he was a tall guy, he was strong, he wasn't too bad. The guy was doing quite well for the first few rounds. I can't lie about that. Obviously he gassed out. I don't know if that's maybe inexperience or just nervousness. But I mean, it made me laugh with Haney talking rubbish, because I went to somebody's backyard twice. Dude, why do you Americans hype yourself up going once? Stop. You're the only nation of people who hype yourselves up when you step one step outside the box. Shut the F up. Nobody wants to hear you Yanks talk about that. You know what I'm saying?
Oh.
Everybody else does it. Nobody else screams, cries, and hollers. But hey ho, when Americans say something, Jesus, like the world's gone apart. Like, nobody's interested. And he talks about, I did this with, what's his name, Kambosa. You only did that when Lomachenko done it first, and Lomachenko was given the green light, but then the war happened, and then you sort of brought your realistic prospects of how much you want to take money-wise down. Because beforehand, thingy was saying, you got to fight in America, I'm the big man, blah, blah, blah. And Kambosa wasn't even entertaining you. So, zip it. Nobody's interested in your lies. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, people are, on the internet now, people remember things, people dissect things. It's hard to get away with this type of scams. I mean, you could do that in the early 90s in the streets. Can't really do it here on the internet. It's a whole different world, man. Kenshiro, anything else you want to say, man, before we move on?
Yeah, I mean, listen, Watson, Haney is right. He will never get beat by a white boy. I honestly believe that because he doesn't fight white men. So that's why he can talk that complete rubbish. And last thing, getting sick Clarissa Shields, running her mouth off, I want to fight Katie Taylor. Like, Katie Taylor's 25 pounds lighter than you. The only reason you want to fight Katie Taylor, because you can't sell no PPVs, you can't sell seats. In your own country of America, nobody even spits on you. And you only get money when you fight white women in England and Ireland. Simple as that. Nobody else cares about you in your own country. White people in America don't care about you, let alone blacks in America, because nobody else is buying your stuff. So leave. You know what I'm saying? It's getting annoyed with this stuff. It's like you become undisputed champion. Be good. Who else are you calling out? You know, nobody else. When you became 3-time undisputed champion in 13 fights. That shows that is complete garbage women's boxing. Simple as that.
Yeah, man. Listen, I don't know have much to say about the women's fight. Jimmy, you want to add something to that?
Well, I was going to say, yeah, it's just absurd. I mean, that's just this size weight classes for a reason. Katie Taylor has already come up in weight, up to the weight she's fighting, which is what 135. She fought Amanda Serrano. Clarissa started as a super middleweight, 168. I mean, it's crazy. But to Pincheiro's point, she has nobody to put her name. There's nobody else up there. And there's another thing. Hey, listen, all the props to her. She beat that girl. I don't know really anything about her. I just heard she could punch the girl she just recently beat. But let's be honest. The division. The first weight class she unified middleweight. Oh no, she middleweight, super middleweight first, but middleweight, the one she's competing in right now, middleweight. On the whole of the planet, there's 55 professional middleweight boxers in the whole of the planet. Wrap your head around that.
And some of the belts she got were vacant belts. It's not exactly she beat people to get those belts, you know. So, and when you got when you got a 12% knockout ratio, you are effectively the black version of Paulie Malignaggi.
Oh, wait a minute! Don't. I mean, he's gonna dog Paulie now.
I can't dispute.
I'm kidding.
You know what I mean?
I'm kidding, man. Well, listen, Kishiro, thank you for your call. We do have to go, man. But thank you for your call. Hope you enjoy the show. Hope you enjoy the fights, and we will keep on talking, right?
And one last thing, Jimmy. Jimmy, I sent you a message on Twitter. You didn't get a chance to read it, but it's all sorted out now anyway. But just thought I'd let you know anyway, yeah?
All right, I'll check that out for sure.
All right.
Thanks, man.
Well,
Sib, Jim.
All right, Kenshiro, thank you for calling him, man. Take it easy out there.
Same, man. Bye.
All right.
And Mr. BD, real quick, because Clarissa Shields calls herself the GOAT, greatest woman boxer ever. And a lot of people say Katie Taylor is because she fights at the lower weights and just through attrition. I mean, like the lower weights has twice, if not 3 times the amount of professional fighters. So obviously it's a thicker, heavier class, and she's fought better competition. That's not Clarissa's fault. She can't help being the bigger girl, but there's just nobody left up there for her. So unless she goes into MMA, really, where else she's going to go? But I'm not the person to really speak on this. If anybody has any question about women's boxing, obviously go to Ring IQ. He covers this extensively.
Absolutely. Hey, shout out to Abuela, a.k.a. Wakandan tax collector. He says, I threw my chancla at my 1973 TV when I saw Haney. Well, first of all, who the hell still owns a 1973 TV with cathode tubes? I mean, I don't think those things still exist. Cathode ray tubes. I forget what they call those CRT TVs. And your chancla, I mean...
I remember those TVs. They're called bulbos in Spanish. Exactly. I remember we had one of those.
But shout out to Abuela. And that chocolate, Gonzalo, somebody was complaining in the last episode in the comment section. They're saying that chocolate's not good anymore.
Oh, but it's because he's making it with water, man.
Okay, come on.
You need to use milk.
Yeah, what's the matter with you, man? Whoever's doing that with the water, come on, man. What, you eat cornflakes with water too? I'd rather eat corn. I eat cornflakes. I used to. I don't do it anymore. I used to eat them as a snack, just dry. I don't need milk. So why you got to be putting water on it? That's disgusting. Shout out to Jonathan Lambarena. Yeah. I almost forgot his super chat. He says, Black Jew versus White Jesus. Okay, what is this? Is Kanye West going to be promoting that one as well? These fucking people in the chat, man. But shout out to Jonathan and shout out to
Chocolate Abuelita. Sorry, BD, go on.
No, go ahead, man. Go ahead.
Chocolate Abuelita is a classic. I think the ingredients are the same. They're pretty basic. You know, or what? You want to cancel her too, like Aunt Jemima, or what?
Oh, yeah, you don't want to do that, man. You don't want to do that. The syrup... Chocolate, those are delicious. Please don't start messing with the marketing. And by the way, real quick, before we go, just 323, you're on the air. One last comment, 323. Make it quick, please. Make it, please, quick.
Hey, what's up, you guys? The show a little late here, and I just wanted to say that Jermaine Ortiz really looked impressive. I really love that sharp jab. But what was that? What was that grabbing behind the head with the uppercut stuff? That, I mean, there was a lot of that went on. I noticed he would clinch, he would grab Loma behind the head, and then just start uppercutting, and nothing. Like, he didn't get warned. Nothing.
Yeah,
Caller, you can't bring that up, man. You can't bring that up. Those are excuses. You bring all that up. Those are excuses.
I mean, I don't know. It was pretty blatant to me. I don't know. I just anyway. Fight was really good. I thought it was really close. I think Loma edged it out by about 2 rounds, and he turned it on a little late. But overall, I don't know about the age thing. I mean, Jermaine Ortiz came in well prepared. I think that's pretty much it. I don't know what you guys think, but I'm in this late. You probably already covered this, so I'm gonna have to listen to the episode again. Anyways, have a good one, guys. Thank you so much.
Well, thank you, man. Thank you for calling in, giving us your input, man. Take it easy out there.
Thank you.
All right, yes.
Yeah, familiarity. Many rounds trained, sparring together. They're very familiar with each other. And he had just spotted him, too, because it was for the Comey fight. You know what I mean? Right. So it's fresh.
And I respectfully disagree with this one thing that Virtue also said. He wasn't throwing, like, punches where he was committing, and that's why he got tired. He was actually throwing little pity pats, little short, peppery shots. And that's why, because he didn't want to throw with a lot of conviction because he was going to get countered by Lomachenko on the inside. So that's why he was kind of doing good. But with the same token, them peppery shots weren't what some people think. They're overrating the Jermaine Dupree, or what's his name? Jermaine Ortiz performance.
Yeah. Gonzalo, people fall for the shoe shining. They love, but like another caller had said that guard, it was picking up a lot of those shots. So I think people need to rewatch that fight and be honest. Get the Loma hate out of their heads and watch the fight objectively, and then we'll see what happens.
And Mr. BDA, can I just say that too? 127 punches landed for Lomachenko, 125 punches landed for Jermaine Dupree. But Dupree's shots were landing off Lomachenko's, a lot of his arms, his shoulders, and they get counted as landed. Whereas when Loma would throw his shots, majority of them were hitting him in the face and head. So yes, the amount of punches landed on the body, but again, punching somebody in the arm, you get counted as a landed shot.
Exactly.
So it's not always volume; it's where they land. And if you look at that dude's face, I'm sure today he looks like John Merritt. So.
Hey, by the way, man, that's what we're gonna. That's gonna be his name from now on, though. Jermaine Dupree. He can't escape that one, man. Well, listen, we do have to go. We've been on for almost 3 hours. It's a Sunday, but shout out to Gonzalo and Jimmy. Always appreciate you guys being on. Always good to talk to you. We didn't even get to scratch the surface some of the other stuff that I had here, but we'll save it for Tuesday. Hope you guys show up in the morning. Hope to see you there. Don't forget the Nakatani versus Francisco Rodriguez. The main event, Kenshiro versus Kyoguchi. And before I forget, too, there's Jonathan Gonzalez versus Iwata. That's a triple header. Should be a fantastic one. If you got ESPN, it's going to be on ESPN+. Plus. I think the whole thing starts at 5 in the morning. But it's worth it, man. If you make arrangements to take the day off or whatever you got to do, man. I'm working on the show, on going live on Tuesdays. So make sure you stick up for that one. Jimmy, Gonzalo, again, always a pleasure talking with you. Shout out to everybody that donated the super chat. Shout out to everybody in the chat. I'm talking about Eparokua, Iceman, Baby Z69, Wise Guy, Stray G Tudo, Eli Harris, Foncrates, Mark Lagunas, Kenshiro Samrando, Mark T, Nes Mendoza, Brick, who else? The Wise Guy, Mad Dog. If I forgot anybody, it's because we got to go. But shout out to you, fellas. Thank you for joining us. We'll catch you in the next one. All right, fellas, take it easy. Thanks for watching.